It's HieroGeekics, your show is laughing all things geek. Nerds.
Welcome back to HieroGeekics. It's your boy Mayhem Mike, and joining me today is my host. I know, right? 30 seconds into it, not even. Anyway, joining me is my fellow co-host. You know him as I Love DC, Justice League Can Do Me No Wrong, B vs. S was the greatest movie around. Brooklyn Boy T, T, say what's up.
What's going on, guys? What's going on? DC forever, you know how it goes.
The man, the mystery himself. We are located in the Hall of Justice. Donnie Dorco.
What's up, y'all?
You hear him really, really deeply. And then, of course, we got a special guest with us. We got Mr. Salty Balls himself.
That's what I'm on as? That's not bullshit.
You'll be all right. Sebastian. Are we calling Sebastian, Bonet, Bonnet, Omar? What are we going with today?
You hit me with Bonnet?
OBS.
Oh.
That works. Oh,
This is your buddy. This is your buddy Sebastian Bonet, a.k.a. Artist Club. What's up?
You know, like USB. You know what I'm saying? OSB,
So
OBS.
I trademarked it. That's it.
OBS.
It's going to need a plug-in.
OBS.
Awesome.
Old bullshit. Let's go.
Oh, man, and we're back. We've got a great show today. I just want to kind of join into it. Have we not seen Daredevil and been in awe of its brilliance? I mean, this is the best depiction, I think, of Kingpin. All right, let's go there. Of Kingpin in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Daredevil himself was pretty dope as well.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm saying that the best we've seen from Daredevil, from Kingpin, is probably going back to the Spider-Man TV show, the cartoon.
Yeah.
This is the best since then.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of development there. I think they saw season 1, probably had a recap and thought, you know what, he needs to up his game and he's even referred to in the show at this time as Kingpin. No more Mr. Fisk.
Right.
He is the Kingpin.
It's no longer fisking people.
Hey-o.
Yeah, I mean, to hear that, I'll be honest, I haven't seen the show. I'm sorry, guys, I've been busy. But no, to hear that's Daredevil season 3 kicked a home run. Don't know what Netflix has planned with the whole Marvel shows due to the fact that now was it Luke Cage and
Iron Fist
are canceled, but
it was perfectly balanced.
Yeah, there you go. The damn snap.
Very nice.
But no, rumors are that they're probably gonna end up putting it on the Disney app.
That's right.
Yeah, no, you're right. Good.
You know, starting their own Disney stream, I believe, next year, right? And they're already coming out with like a series of shows. You know, even if it's a limited run, you got Loki supposedly getting his own series. You got Winter Soldier and Falcon getting his own series, and you even have a show from Star Wars pre-Rogue One starring Diego Luna.
I cannot wait for that. I'm super excited for that.
Me too.
So I just want to say, like, that would be dope no matter what, because you know what? I mean, Disney, we all know is Disney. Like, you know what? We see how well successful this is going. You've had enough of our partnership. We're gonna bring it back. Definitely. I'm looking forward to seeing that. At first, I was wary of Disney because I was like, I don't think they got the writers for this, but they've shown me up. They've shut me up for the last year and some change.
Well, they got the money for it.
Definitely.
Do you think Netflix will try to part with Daredevil because it's been doing so well? It's been one of their hits.
I mean, I think they'll try to maybe do one more season. There's some rumors about it. I don't know if it's going to go through because at the end of the day, I mean, Disney will see it as a business opportunity, but at the same time, it's like we're going to do well with you or without you. So you kind of gotta kind of go to our standards. Plus, you know what I'm saying?
They're gonna have a lot of content with the whole Fox deal.
Oh yeah, no doubt. But I also think that with the way Netflix is doing it, and Disney actually, I don't think it's Marvel's decision to cancel the shows. I do think that was Netflix's decision to cancel the shows. But I think what's going to happen is in Disney and Marvel can definitely say, okay, since you cancel them, you canceled the contracts, we could kind of pull it back and
Right.
do it our way, and that would
Right.
be pretty
Right.
cool to see them do that.
I think ultimately,
Maybe with different characters, but
I think
different
ultimately
actors.
what's gonna happen is like, you know how we had that run with like vampires and werewolves and all these fantasy creatures and all these great shows were coming out.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Angel.
You know,
And then we got
it
Twilight.
died, and then Twilight. Oh my god!
Twilight.
What I think is going to happen is now so many superhero franchises, superheroines franchises are going to get picked up, and the writing is going to come through. I think we're about to like see a boom of superheroes, new and old.
Finally, comic book writers get to write for shows, yo.
Right.
But here's the
That'd be
thing. I
dope.
mean,
Mhm.
you gotta put credit with Marvel because they've been doing that in the beginning, which is come on DC, pick it up, pick up the slack. Although you can't front with DC, they've been doing well with their shows because the DC shows on Channel 11 have been doing pretty well.
Okay, yeah.
But at the end of the day, I mean, it's already been in development there. Feige, he's basically been the center of this whole thing and knows what's coming for years to come. An indication when you look at Old Man Logan, that shows the writing on the wall right there, where what you can do with a movie.
Yeah.
So they're just trying to find what they can do more with the genre, with the superhero genre, which is just like, okay, we're not bad guys versus heroes. Like, look at the last Avengers movie. You felt for the character Thanos. He was probably the best villain out of any movie so far.
We all look around for our phone. Yeah, no, agreed. And you know what? I proposed this question. It's probably me. I proposed this question last night. Just looking at The Dark Knight Rises, I was looking at some reviews and whatnot. What made that movie so great was the villain, right? Fast forward to Days of Future Past. Fast forward to I'm losing it right now, but pretty much even Old Man Logan, the villains aren't necessarily clear cut.
Yeah.
With Old Man Logan, he's fighting time and his health. Days of Future Past, it's humanity, and it's like not really sins of the father, Charles, if you will, but it's just like in the future, in the past, like what are we going to do to come back from that? And then Gotham was in Dark Knight Rises. It was really Gotham that was the actual villain. Like, are Gotham citizens worth saving? The decency, and that kind of carries over to the Bane, of course, Dark Knight 3. I said Dark Knight 3. That's not actually it, but
Dark Knight Rises.
Dark Knight Rises, excuse me. But that hard. I felt like that movie was rushed. But anyway, the reason why I even brought that up is because if we can have more scripts and more shows where it's not necessarily the villain, but what the villain stands for and the setting that the heroes and the villains are at, I think that's going to bring out a lot of great content.
Well, have you
I
seen
agree with
Ant-Man?
you 100%.
The last Ant-Man movie?
The Wasp? Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasp. Like, if you look at the villain, the supposed villain in the movie Ghost, she really didn't come off as a villain.
She didn't.
No.
No, she was someone that was stuck with this circumstance that she was basically, in a way, kind of screwed over with her predicament. And it's like you felt bad for the character. It's like, she wasn't a one-side cookie-cutter villain. When you look at when we had Iron Man 1, Obadiah Stane, perfect cookie-cutter villain. Compared to what we're getting now, we're not getting the same cookie-cutter villains like we used to anymore. You're getting villains that... And I remember a lot of people in the arguments, well, DC's darker. We have... And again, this is not a shot at DC or saying anything. This is just, hopefully everything comes up. I'm not showing shade. But I remember that used to be argument that people used to do. But now it's like, no, look. They're now working on their villains. They've established their heroes. They're now working on the villains. The writing is getting better. And again, like I said, look at the DC shows. I love the fact... you see the DC show, what was it, Legends?
Yeah.
Legends of Tomorrow.
Legends of Tomorrow. It's just funny how you saw a character, Damien Dark, who was a cookie-cutter villain when he first came out. And Legends, you just loved the guy because he was just awesome. I mean, his ringtone was Return of the Mac.
Yeah.
What villain do you be like, I'm scared? Like, no, that guy is awesome. That's it.
I completely agree.
Did anybody feel bad for Fisk in this season of Daredevil?
Yeah, you felt it towards the end of it. I think you definitely felt his
Which is
pain, and you felt
crazy.
his desire to just want to be happy with his wife
You know
at
what
the
this
end
is?
of it.
This is a Breaking Bad moment.
Yeah.
This is a Breaking Bad. For those that haven't watched Breaking Bad, it's a dope series. It starts off slow, but it's really worth it. The payoff is totally worth it. Here it is in Breaking Bad. This guy's a drug dealer. He's trying to become a kingpin. He's trying to become a kingpin in a sense, and you feel bad for a guy who's peddling drugs. Okay, we're not talking about that. We're talking about Daredevil. What do we feel bad for? That he wanted to quote unquote make the city in his image that he wanted to be with his girlfriend,
his wife,
you know,
Vanessa, right?
Vanessa, yeah, because they didn't get. Spoiler alert! I'm gonna leave that. They
Get
get
into
married.
it, yeah.
They get married, but it's just like, why do we feel bad for him? And I kind of felt like Foggy, Matt, they all had like a serious hard on for him. Like, yo, we got to put him back in jail.
Yep.
Well, if you look at the Kingpin character, even when they established in season 1 and how dangerous he is, the one thing they established is that Kingpin is also a little bit of a broken character. He was a bit of a recluse. He didn't want to be in the spotlight at one point. He loved running things from the shadows. But like they focused on, you know, a lot of like when he was younger and everything. Yeah. And that kind of affected his character. So he's a bit of a broken character in a way, and then you kind of feel bad about that.
Again,
sorry, which is kind of how they connected him with Dex.
Yeah,
you know, like that connection was almost like a father son type pairing, and it was beautifully
and
done.
then that reference going back to Wesley season 1, telling
Yeah.
him like, you know, you're not my son, but you know, you're like sort of there,
right? And they kept calling him the new Wesley.
Yeah. Well, he kept calling himself
the
new Wesley, even though Fisk was like, no,
right?
But he's useful.
Man, Daredevil was dope. Point Dexter was dope, and I knew it was him. Was it the second episode when they're transporting Fisk, and he shot that guy through the Durango, through the truck. I was like, no, it's him. And it's like I felt bad for him because like I thought he was like really broken, and I thought like he wasn't as psychotic as he turned out to be,
right.
and I thought he actually had a girlfriend until he pulled that stunt. I was like, oh, this guy's crazy.
That's crazy.
This guy is crazy, but he's bad. And then the graphics on it. Shout out to them. The fight scene in the office where Bullseye is wearing Daredevil, classic battle, of course. Bullseye wearing Daredevil's costume, and he's actually fighting Daredevil in the office.
Nice little reference to the Dark Avengers.
There you go. There's just so many classics.
Yeah,
honestly, that the references to. There's so many. My favorite part of that episode is when Matt is on the other side of the cubicle and he throws a baseball against the audience.
Yes,
and it's like pinpoint, boom. It's like it's like pretty much what you imagine when you're reading the comics. You know, sometimes you don't necessarily see in the animation.
Yep.
They brought it to life really, really well.
The flashback scene when he puts on the cap, you see the bullseye. That's what did it for me. Even though I was like sort of like keeping track of the breadcrumbs, I was just like, this guy like really like in the beginning when Fisk was getting assaulted, and he like shot him like dead point headshots. I was like, damn, he got him good. And then after a while, like I started seeing his character more, and then that was like the final like stamp, like holy shit, that's Bullseye. Fuck.
Yep.
They hinted he was coming. They said he was coming. But forced to be reckoned with always when he's on the show.
But his interaction with Matt and the fight scenes, oh my god, man, like he really did Bullseye justice.
Yeah. Even when he wasn't fighting, when it was just him, you know, carrying on his day-to-day life, you believe this guy was crazy. Yeah, you believe there was something wrong with this guy. And the fight scenes were really just a cherry on top.
Yeah.
I think this season, yet again, there was another classic moment, well, classic fight scene for Daredevil, which they rehearsed for hours. First of all, Daredevil's always getting his butt whipped. He's like, and not whooped like, oh, I'm getting beat up by bad guys, but like he's down. He's like a dog. He fights to like the bitter end, and it's so crazy too because I remember when he started getting his vision back, I was like, oh, this is dope. He's getting his butt whipped again. What's gonna happen to him? Like no. The development of the characters, the fight scenes, and just the overall turmoil. Because if you ask me, it's all about Matt trying to find influence to be the Daredevil he was in season 1 and 2. And even right before he quote unquote died in Defenders, and you know, and it's just like, nah, man, I'm going to the dark side. And then you know, Foggy got caught up. I was really hoping that Foggy was going to be DA, like just like in the comics, but you know, whatever.
He'll get there eventually.
They did it justice. I'm not worried about that girl. Kingpin, I'm so interested. Like, it's funny because I feel like he didn't do so much with the city this season, but he impacted everybody.
And
it's crazy. I gotta watch the season.
But
again.
You know who I really fell for the most? The FBI agent. Oh man, like You could just see it. He was like dab smack right in the middle of like all these scenarios. Just like, and his character reminded me of Harvey Dent, Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Like where he was just like, there was this struggle within him where he's like, he's doing the right thing, but at the same time there's all this corruption surrounding him, and he just doesn't know what to do now. He's always stuck between a rock and a hard place. Like, I really felt for him though.
When he died, that kind of hit me. I was like, oh, wow.
But he knew it was coming.
He knew it was coming, and and he waited. He was outside, right?
Yeah.
He was outside. It was he knew what was coming. He waited, and he killed himself, right?
Yeah.
He shot himself, and
Bullseye shot him.
Bullseye shot him.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, and then he fell into the pool.
Yeah.
Into the empty pool.
That I really felt bad about, because they were talking about it like earlier in the season about getting a
the
new pool.
Right.
He just got.
Exactly.
He's getting this promotion, and then it's just like, oh man,
Look
I
how
felt bad.
Fisk impacts you. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Let's talk about predictions, okay? Because, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't seen Daredevil Season 3, please see it before they take it off Netflix. We don't know if it's going to stay there any longer, but please see it.
Yeah.
Predictions. So, the ending, Bullseye's getting a new back. He's getting a whole new spinal. Not made of adamantium. It's made of, what's the metal called?
It is called
Snuffleupagus.
Vibranium.
Cognium steel.
Once the whole Fox deal goes through, and once it gets finally approved, it's going to be quality.
I'm sure they'll use the proper terms
Right.
for
Yeah.
it.
And who was the doctor that was doing the procedure?
Dr. Oyama, who's also known as Lord Darkwind, and he is actually Lady Deathstrike's father.
There you go.
And he also he created the process to bond adamantium to bone,
yeah.
which is what the most famous
Wolverine. Yeah.
Wolverine. When you think of
Wolverine,
that, so.
Sabretooth. I think we're about to have, like, if we can get the same writers for Daredevil season 4, I think we're gonna have the evil Dark Man himself, Dark Daredevil, come through, and I cannot wait. Shadowland. Yep. I want to see it.
Yeah,
I want to see it.
That's what everybody's been waiting for. They want to see Shadowland Daredevil.
And I think that would be a great season to leave on.
Yeah.
But I think they would have to now reintroduce the Hand, like, where have they been and all that.
Right.
Which is fine. They could do that. They could definitely do that. I mean, what's her face is still missing?
Elektra.
Yeah.
We don't know if she officially died.
We don't know if she died or not.
Right.
My guess is they're laying low, they're trying to strategize, and then boom.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. In the comics, Elektra is badass. Like,
wasn't the Hand in the second Wolverine movie?
No, it was a Yakuza.
Yeah.
Yakuza, yeah.
Yakuza.
Oh, that horrible movie. That's why I didn't think of it.
It would be interesting when that whole deal goes through.
With the samurais and machine.
Horrible.
Anyway.
Gonna suck your adamantium dry.
What? What were they thinking?
Yeah, say that 5 times fast and then I clap.
I don't know. We're gonna move on.
Fox wasn't thinking.
So we're talking about movie companies. What happened?
I think what a lot of people are missing, especially with the Fox Disney deal, is that the TV shows also come over.
Yeah.
So, Gifted, which is a show that takes place in, I believe it takes place in the X-Men universe, in the Logan timeline. What happens to that? What happens to that show? You know what I mean? Like I would love to see that show.
I would love to see them continue, because I
love that show, Gifted. I think it's pretty cool.
We have already the concepts of multiverses and all that. That'll be interesting with them to introduce that, because in Doctor Strange introduces the concept of the multiverse.
Right. Yeah.
So I wouldn't put it past them to do something like that. Like, Gifted existed in its own multiverse. Deadpool could exist anywhere.
Yeah.
You could throw Deadpool in anything and he's just going to exist. Like, I've always been here because he's,
He's
that type of character.
Yeah. Bastard.
They could always do something, because Kevin Feige is already 10 years ahead in the Marvel Universe.
Yeah.
Kevin Feige, you are invited to my cookout, bro. Just come on over.
He's getting more toys to play with, so it's like, what they're going to... Because he's not in charge of the shows, but just whatever he does with the movies is probably going to follow with the shows.
Yeah.
And the way how they'll probably introduce mutants is in some way that they probably already have been there, and probably, who knows, after...
I think they're going to do something similar.
This Avengers movie, it's going to be probably be a big surprise.
Yeah.
It'll be a teaser in that movie somehow, and then I think they're going to go to Ultimate Ultimate Marvel.
The
Marvel
Ultimate route?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like we've been hidden. Like I wouldn't even put it past them. Like Professor X was just this mutant who was hiding mutants from people.
Right. Or it's going to be, I don't think it's going to be a big population. I think it's going to be a confined group, like New York got hit with some type of poisonous gas. Or I think it's going to be something like that.
Humans.
That's it. Yeah, and they
that's
just
in
killed
humans.
the
But they
humans.
just killed
They,
it. Yeah.
Thanos did the snap and killed all the humans. He even killed their show, terminated their contract.
All right. Speaking of mutants, let's talk about the Dark Phoenix trailer. We just watched it. What were your impression? What are your thoughts about it, Sebastian?
Oh, my thoughts?
Yes.
Where's my popcorn? Where we going?
The trailer. We watched
I'm
the
doing
trailer.
that. I'm ready to go see the movie.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's go see the movie. Where's my popcorn? Where's my ticket? I need my soda. We're gonna go see Phoenix wreck some stuff.
Sour Patches, too.
Well, first of all, and you pointed out as Brooklyn Boiti, it shows like this. Professor X. This is the theory here. He's always been the villain in the X-Men in a way. He tries to do good, but he always, for some reason, his good is like wrong. He's like the Dennis the Menace of the X-Men.
Wow.
Let's bring up some.
I've never heard that. I've never heard that
It's here
before.
now, trademark and all that. Like, whoop! I got everybody in trouble now.
No, you know what?
But I brought you guys together.
Yeah, because he's always on the cusp. It's kind of like take the shot. You know what I'm saying?
Let's bring up a reference here. I mean, he was the Onslaught. He killed the whole X-Men mutant team, got them killed, and erased it from freaking history.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Which was Cyclops' brother Vulcan, by the way. Went mad with that and ended up killing, what was it, Banshee, because he was mad with the X-Men and Professor X.
Yeah.
And then he just met, his demise with Cyclops after doing all those lies and all that.
And then Cyclops, that's when Cyclops turned on him.
Yeah.
And Cyclops ended up killing him in
Phoenix,
Phoenix
Force?
Avengers versus X-Men.
Yeah.
Cyclops like, you little bitch, you're gonna get it.
Yeah. But even then, that scene, I remember reading. I just read it actually like a month ago. That scene was hard to read.
Really?
It was powerful. And then I read something after that, actually from Rob Comics Explained, and
Shout out to Comics Explained.
shout out to Comics Explained. But in that, he told me, like, I read another comic book in which explained why Cyclops was acting the way he was acting. It was because Cable came from the future, and before Cable, he made a promise to Cable saying to protect his daughter.
Yeah.
And so that's why he, against all odds, and then he was already at odds with Professor X,
Yeah.
and then he had the Phoenix Force inside of him at the same time. So
all
of those forces inside of Cyclops, he killed. I don't think he would have killed them in any other circumstances, but all of those added up.
But there was a little bit of regret in that, so you could see in Cyclops'
Oh,
character,
yeah.
because it's like it's the evolution of that character.
He's more like Magneto. He was more like Magneto by the end of that.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he was.
Cyclops is dead though. He's dead, if I'm not mistaken. Now
I haven't followed the new stuff.
Yeah, he's
it's hard
dead.
to.
I think he's dead. I don't know if they brought him back. Okay, so
they have young Cyclops.
I know, yeah.
Right, yeah, they went back and got to like the original team and brought
right.
them back.
But the original Cyclops in our present timeline, the one who killed Professor X, as far as I know, is dead. Unless they brought him back, I got to catch up. But go ahead, you were talking about the evolution.
No, like it's the evolution of the character. It's something I would love to see in the movies because Phoenix is gonna. Because it's like, Cyclops always was this cookie cutter character. He was the Boy Scout. Then you learn that Cyclops is one of those general characters. So they're like, yeah, we need someone as a general. It was in before the whole whatever storyline. I don't know. You guys know him. Just look it up. They picked Cyclops to lead a team, and they're like, he has leadership skills on par with Captain America.
Yeah.
And then he became the leader of the mutant race.
Yeah.
So this guy went from this cookie cutter character who has this pew 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 laser beams to now all of a sudden leading the mutant race, having Professor X and Magneto, the two most powerful Mega Mutants, following him.
Yeah.
Mind you, he's a G. Come on, he had the Phoenix, he had Frost, he got Wolverine looking up to him, literally looking up to him too.
I hate you.
But it's like
Wolverine fans are not
but
happy with
also
you right
too,
now.
Did you ever during the Avengers versus X-Men storyline, when Cyclops and Captain America were alone in a room, did you ever get to read that scene?
Yeah.
This scene was like when Cyclops looked at him like, you guys are interfering with mutant affairs now, but you never interfered
before,
which led into them creating the Uncanny Avengers.
Right.
So it was like Cyclops in a way. It's like, listen, I did what I had to do for my people. where were you?
Mm-hmm.
That scene was, when they wanted to take what's his granddaughter's name? Hope.
Hope something.
When they came for Hope, and that scene of, are you gonna stop me from taking my granddaughter? And then he was like, Steve, what are you saying right now? And then you see, like, I think it flipped to the next panel. His eyes got red. Oh man!
So that was like really dope. No, you're 100% correct. Cyclops, I think for us, except for maybe in Marvel vs. Capcom or Street Fighter vs. X-Men games, was kind of like looked over. Like, unless you like Cyclops, you were like,
Like me.
Like, I paid attention to him in X-Men because I always wondered, like, when he took his glasses off or they tied his hands, right, how would he do it? And he had, like, a little controller in his glove to open the visor. Yeah. So, which is why he was able to get out of so many things when he was tied up. But people didn't know that. You're right. He did. He was like this Boy Scout. He followed Professor X blindly. You know what I'm saying? He led the team. He turned into like this general, and then he's like, "Yo, I'm the leader of the race. It's up to me." Yeah. And you know what? And people will know that him and Wolverine came to odds. They split the schools, whatever. But they generally came together when it came to mutant affairs.
He actually recruited Wolverine to create a kill force.
Oh yeah,
X Force for a while was a mutant extermination team and went to kill their enemies at the order of Cyclops.
Yeah. He had Magneto second in command.
Yeah.
The guy that they used to fight all the time. The guy who stripped adamantium from Wolverine's bones.
You're number 2. You're number 2.
Freaking Submariner.
Henry Cavill people.
To him. Who later became like, everybody's like, oh, he's a mutant now and all that. But I mean, we could get lost in that for ages.
I didn't know.
I would have loved to see them show also an evolution of Cyclops in the movies, which we're never going to get.
Well, it looks like in Dark Phoenix, it looks like he's grown up a lot. It looks like he's grown up a lot. If they do decide to redo X-Men, which I'm sure they will in the MCU, if they're going to recast,
they have to.
I'm all for older
there was
Cyclops.
There was a tweet that said everyone else is gone. This is the last X-Men movie. Right. Everyone else is gone except Reynolds.
I would definitely say Henry Cavill.
Go with the
Henry
Cavill. Henry Cavill. I would go
Henry Cavill.
But oh god, that whole Witcher thing with it. I'm not going to get in that. But
the wig.
Legolas did it better. No, I mean, if they're going to recast everybody, I feel like what's going to end up happening again, we're going to get the Boy Scout Cyclops. Maybe years later we'll probably get it, but I don't know.
I think it's time that Marvel starts a story somewhere halfway through,
like Black Panther.
Yeah, like no origin, just give us halfway through. And like, let's deal with the consequences then, and then have somebody try to retell it.
That's the beautiful thing. Like, if you really think about it, if they do that with the X-Men, where they put mutants were already here for this whole time, we just never, because it's kind of like with the humans, like they've already been there.
I mean, Professor X can do it. Professor X can like make them blind. Yeah, again.
And they could do like a whole thing because, again, you got the TV shows, you got the streaming platforms, and it just sucks because everyone's doing all this great stuff, and I feel like they're gonna put all their best efforts with the Dark Phoenix movie. Gotcha. I just feel like it's gonna suck for them to okay, we're gonna recast everybody again because they just recasted Storm.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like she's gotten the chance to shine. And it sucks for what's her face was playing Jean Grey. It's like okay, you only got the outing of Jean Grey in what? Two movies.
I mean, she get to cash a check. All right, that'll be.
She's cashing a final game.
But no, you're right. I totally understand.
But Fox is running on its last leg and is doing whatever it can to at least close this, X-Men franchise, on their part, and then slowly transition to the MCU.
They should start it at the Civil War, and be like, whatever reason we didn't know. Like, let's say Charles Xavier made every human being blind to the mutants there, right? For whatever reason. And then while Civil War was going on, this happened. Right. And then go from there.
They could take the Spider-Man route.
Yeah.
Spider-Man was already, like, they did...
He was Spider-Man for 6 months.
They used, like, subtle, old scenes in Marvel movies. Like, they were like, oh, yeah, that was Spider-Man that met Tony Stark when he was a kid. They did some Easter egg like that.
Yeah.
Iron Man 2?
Yeah.
But, like, they were like, he was already, like, Spider-Man. So they can literally do that with the X-Men. And also, too, since the street superheroes on Netflix...
Oh, yeah.
Technically kind of exist in the same universe.
Yeah. Yeah, they always reference it. You're right.
Mm-hmm. I'm all for that. But I do like these the younger cast I just don't think it fits well. You know, like Cyclops being 24, where everybody else is 40s. You know, that age. Cyclops is supposed to be an established leader,
right?
You know, so he has to at least be on par with Captain America. Professor Xavier can't be 29. You know what I mean? That's just it doesn't work.
It'll happen.
They gotta be.
It'll happen eventually.
And it kind of sucks. I would if they can keep the younger mutants. You know how, and then consider this takes place in the 80s and 70s, and then it's the other guys. You know, but then I don't think they're. Gonna
Once this whole merger thing is complete, it'll happen. Just give it some time. Even Feige says that he's like uber excited to introduce the X-Men into the MCU.
We're gonna get a lot after the Avengers, the next Avengers movie, with the fact that we've been introduced to in Doctor Strange. Alternate realities, the multiverse, and in Ant-Man,
I hope they bring back.
They introduced
time travel.
You know, time travel is going to be a factor because if you were not paying attention at the end of Ant-Man, Janet Van Dyne said, watch out for such and such things because it's gonna mess with time or some shit like that.
The time vortex.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if they use a lot of that stuff, fuck with time and all that, and to try to mess with things, and then. All this other stuff happens where it now recreates the whole MCU timeline.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, we still got to wait for Avengers 4, whatever the titles are going to be. Reset the reality stones, time stones, everything.
Kick names, take gas. Avengers 4.
There's so much routes they could take.
Yeah.
The Infinity Stones, anything is possible with the Infinity Stones.
And plus, they even announced that the movie doesn't take off like right away after Avengers 3. It's like, 5 years, 6 years into it?
Which makes sense. I don't understand why people are griping about that.
I think they're gonna start. There is gonna be a scene where when the movie opens up, I think there has to be a scene in which showing something. Like there has to be something. But then there's gonna be a time. The opening scene will be right after, but then it's gonna be a time jump.
The opening scene to be Stark with his family, because the rumors is that everyone of them, right? Because if you notice, all the original Avengers were the ones that were alive at the end.
Yeah,
yeah.
And the rumors are that each Avenger is going to lose something, maybe more than just it, because everybody assumes it's their life. The rumor with Iron Man is like, what would he lose more? Because again, you had that whole thing of the father-son relationship with him and Peter. Peter died. So, what's the most precious thing that
Pepper.
he can lose? No, not Pepper. Remember,
his son.
they're supposed to.
They're having a baby.
Son or daughter, like their child.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Like maybe that's the one thing that he may lose.
You see, but I can't see them.
Still there.
But I can't see them doing that either because I don't think they're gonna go.
We don't know. We don't know yet.
I mean, in the beginning, remember they can always reset.
There's a lot of characters we don't even know who happened to. The rest of the Asgardians, Valkyrie.
Well, we know that Hawkeye from some of the shots is still alive. The type of Avengers team that they're
right.
Again, I feel like
I don't think they're gonna go too dark. I honestly don't think that we're gonna lose Tony Stark. We're not gonna lose Cap.
Gonna lose him, but it's like, what are they like? They go for them to save the timeline. They already said that there are going to be high stakes.
Oh yeah.
So what are those? And what would be the like? We already know Tony Stark would sacrifice himself. To save
He's done it. He's done it time and time.
For it plenty of times, but to go like, okay, for you to save the universe, you have to sacrifice your child. How does that affect Stark with that decision?
My guess is, being that it is Chris Evans' last Avengers movie, Cap saves the day.
Cap's gonna.
He's gonna save it, because from day one he's been that guy that's gonna puts himself before others.
And has Cap ever?
I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Has his life ever been like? So far for the movie, and as Mike cuddles up with a pillow,
take Captain America.
Has he really been have the choice? Has he made the choice to save others as opposed to saving himself?
Well, I mean,
I think that has always been Iron Man.
Go back to the first Captain America movie.
First Avenger.
The first Avenger. He sacrificed himself to take down that plane.
So what are we talking about? Yes. Oh, yeah. I don't know what I'm talking about. Sorry.
Cap has that in
and even pre Super Soldier serum, the dummy grenade.
On a grenade. Oh yeah.
And so we know that both Cap and Iron Man have that in him, and it's going to be a lot of people were shocked at the end of Avengers. Infinity War. There's just they have a lot that's going to happen with this one. There's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to affect these characters, and that's the beautiful part. It's not necessarily a bad thing, because if you notice, each thing that they've done for each character, each movie, there have been little pieces that have changed their direction, have changed it, and actually helped the characters even grow, where they're not just cookie cutter superheroes anymore.
No,
agreed.
not.
Thor had to cut his hair to grow, though.
Mm-hmm.
He really saved the Thor character.
Yeah.
It really did. Like, we saw Thor worked well with all the Avenger characters. The first two movies, I don't know what happened. I know the first one was rushed.
Okay.
That was rushed. The second one, I don't know where we're going, because you joked about it all the time. You were happy when Captain America made that scenario. It was like, this movie is whack. Yeah, I remember that.
Okay.
But the third Thor movie, it found its place. I'm spitting over because...
doing great.
Yeah. No, the third movie, I think they really found the Thor character. In a way, they incorporated buddy comedy.
Oh, yeah.
They caught the brotherly relationship between him and Loki, because that was an interesting dynamic. That was always their dynamic.
I think
that kind of hurts. Like, Thor already lost part of his... Thor already went through his sacrifice. He lost his brother. He lost his homeworld.
He lost his father.
Yep.
Yeah.
Lost
so
his mother.
Lost
his best friend.
So
Jesus.
Thor has
Lost his
gone
hammer.
through that sacrifice already.
Oh, King Thor.
Yo, what?
He's supposed to go through that.
He's the Christian Bale of this trilogy.
Oh.
You know,
We're
he
gonna come back to that.
broke his back, broke his bank, his bank account, all of that.
It's the Thor night.
Right?
You know?
He's gonna start talking like, oh, my hammer.
We were supposed to talk about Dark Phoenix, and we got so sidetracked.
Yeah, we did. We got sidetracked.
I just want to say, I don't think it's Mystique that dies. I don't think she dies.
Rumors have it that she's probably the one that's going to bite the dust.
I think it has to be her.
I'm just throwing it out there because I don't want her to die.
Or that was Professor X they buried.
No,
how many times is Professor X going to die, really? Like, but you're right.
I don't think it was him. He was at the funeral.
Oh, he was?
Yeah, he was there. He was there.
Wasn't my other bald guy?
In a chair?
Maybe Cassandra Novak.
Maybe Fisk.
He
Maybe
does
Fisk.
this thing where he dies and transfers bodies.
Well,
Yeah.
I feel...
And still ends up a paraplegic somehow.
I
know, right? Like, Jesus.
don't know.
Well, actually, in the comics, at one point, he was able to walk.
I think that was just dumb. That was a cop-out. No, I think it's going to be Mystique. Because, like, if you look, we already lost, what's his face? Damn it. What is his... Wolverine, this guy, Hugh Jackman, as Wolverine. He did his death scene.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Mystique is kind of like the second person of that, because when they did the X-Men First Class, Jennifer Lawrence as Mystique stuck out. They really changed the character for the movies.
Yeah.
And she became a hero, so maybe she
Which
might
is
go
so
to some
weird.
part. It's
And plus, it's the
Well, she
last
was
movie for this
always-
franchise.
she was
so
kinda
it's only
like-
natural that they go, like, I guess, on a high note, in a way, you know?
To be fair, she wasn't really a hero, and she wasn't really a villain. I mean, she had. Don't get me wrong. She definitely partook in villainous activity. I'm
she
not gonna
stepped in the hero role in Apocalypse,
Right.
When she led the X-Men team to take on Apocalypse,
Right.
And in First Class, she was in.
Yeah.
Until she felt betrayed.
So it's just like I'm going to comics because, believe it or not, I actually have the original digital comics of like the old comics, Big, Uncanny, all that good stuff. And if it's like, oh my god, that's like a good month's read.
Yeah.
Okay, it's like up to I think 2005. It's like a good month's read.
That's
Interesting
why you grew
fact,
that beard.
huh?
That's why you grew that beard.
That's how I grew it. Yeah. Interesting fact. Gambit. I forgot Gambit was part of the Marauders, the whole massacre for the Marauders.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot about that.
He was
And-
on trial for that in the comics and everything. Yeah.
And it's so funny because Rogue out here wasn't trying to give him no play like that, and then once that happened, she's like, "Oh no, Gambit, no!" You know, Gambit is actually pretty powerful as a mutant. We gotta go into that one day.
Kinetic energy.
Huh?
Kinetic energy.
Yo, they were talking about he could be Omega,
Yeah.
Bro,
but he went to Mr. Citizen to tone it down. You know why I love Gambit? Because at one point people forget Storm actually was she was reversed. She was reversed aged. And she went into a kid. I forgot why exactly. It's been a while. And her and Gambit used to hang around. Now, one of the things that they share in common is that they were both thieves. He was actually the head of the Thieves Guild, and she was just like a really good thief. And I used to always be like, I wonder who's better. Of course, obviously Gambit, but they had that little bond, I guess brotherly bond, brother and sisterly bond, because I didn't see like the dad and daughter from it. So it's just like, that was dope, and people forget how cool Gambit is.
Yeah, Gambit
right?
is amazing.
That's wow.
Yeah,
But they brought him back. Gene supposedly is head of the new team, so we'll see how that goes. Anyway, before we get distracted,
It's already there.
Dark Phoenix trailer. I do want to point out that Magneto's part in the trailer was really dope. That you brought out, Brooklyn.
Oh yeah.
As about like, there's always a speech, Charles. You're always sorry, but this time nobody cared.
Yep.
I
That
I think that sets a really good tone.
such a powerful line. That's
I think
such
that
a
sets a
powerful
really-
line. And
It
really
it's,
good
is. It
tone.
sets a tone. You want to know what?
but he's right.
Yeah.
Nothing against Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen because they did their job as the characters.
Yeah.
They
Yes.
really did.
Yes.
But Michael Fassbender, in a way, has really owned this role more as a younger version of Magneto, and I feel like he's been given it's just interesting of how he's taken the character.
You know why? Because Professor X is kind of linear. You understand?
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. Professor X, before he lost the use of his legs, was a little jovial. He was a little cocky, whatever. And then, like, once he became paralyzed, he definitely humbled himself.
Yeah.
Think about all the times you've read about a young Magneto, young Eric. It's not much, and he's always been this fiery, rebellious
Yeah.
person.
But it goes back to
But-
what happened to him.
Right, which is
Like-
fine. But think about the growth as a character, as an actor. You
Yeah.
have so much to play
It's
with.
range. It's so
I
much
think
range.
He was given like I said, nothing against Ian McKellen and how
Yeah.
he played the character because when he first did the character, he was given the cookie cutter version,
Yeah.
the villain version. That's what he was given. You didn't get much context to the character. Fast forward, we get Michael Fassbender, First Class. They do that opening scene of X-Men in the camp.
Yeah.
It's
And then
a
you see him, and
Yeah.
so it's like, all right, you already know the premise of this character, so you already feel some type of guilt and understand where the character's coming from.
My standout scene for Magneto.
was that like a reused scene from like
Partially.
the first partially? Okay.
Partially.
Okay.
It was a different kid. Everything was the same. They just reshot it with a different kid.
Okay, because I was just like, wow, this is like from X-Men, like
Yeah.
the first one.
Remember when he killed his family in the forest? I felt that.
That's another thing.
Yeah.
Again, it's like, oh my god, you're pulling me back in. I'm trying to, but you're pulling me back in.
The guy has had a traumatic life. That's it. That's it.
And it's like you feel bad for the character.
Yeah.
Going back to just real, I just remember something that you said. You said that Professor X has always been the type he could have been the villain because he's always. I think that's because he's always tried to stop something before it starts, and that's one of the lines that Cap said in Age of Ultron to Tony. Anytime you try to stop the war from happening anytime you try to stop a war before it starts, innocent people die.
Innocent people die. Yeah.
It's
And
kinda like,
that's Professor X.
Every time. He says it
every time.
I always thought Professor X was like just an angry person, and he just didn't know how to control it. But they already got Bruce Banner for that.
Professor X and Barry Allen should get together.
Oh no,
Because,
they would
Can you
mess up
imagine?
everything.
No.
They would
Because
mess up
that's their club.
everything.
Like I could do good if I do this. Come back, and all of a sudden, like, damn, I messed things up even more.
yeah.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around Arrow in a flash suit,
That was
and,
awesome.
and Barry in an arrow
Yeah.
suit. So
But Barry looks good.
He does.
They look good in their reverse roles.
but Arrow looked like that should look comfortable on him. That should look super tight.
That's like super tight. That's what he is.
Yep.
Let's cross universes and let's talk about Glass coming out January 18th.
That's all you guys. This is, I'm assuming, based off of
This is
Unbreakable.
Unbreakable.
Unbreakable,
and Split.
Unbreakable.
Split, and Glass.
Okay.
It's literally a superhero villain trilogy.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna have to put that on my list.
I don't
gotta
like
watch
calling it a trilogy because I feel like it's just movies that kind of add up to each other.
It's
But whatever. That's what.
It's an M. Night Shyamalan story trilogy, and I got you had Unbreakable that introduced the hero. You have Split that introduced kind of like this villain that was really like crazy in a way, but also too like people
Super
might be
villain.
outside.
Super villain.
But the real super villain, the Lex Luthor of it, we're going to get to see him is Glass.
Yeah.
So, can I just really say you guys saw Split, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So all parts of Split.
That's what I'm saying. I got to put it on my list.
No, it's just parts I've seen. It's
Unbreakable
good.
is okay. Okay, it's okay as a movie. All right, it's just good to know. It's good reference material. Let me say that.
Well, it was good for its time. For its time, it was ahead of its
great for
time.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
But
Okay,
it broke
okay.
down Superman perfectly.
Yeah.
It really
I
did.
will shake
like,
your hand, sir. I will shake your
yes.
So then Split comes, and I didn't know what to expect, but I was blown. What's the guy's name? What's the actual actor's name?
Professor
Bruce
X?
Willis?
No, not Bruce Willis for Split.
James McAvoy.
James McAvoy.
Did he win an award for that role? Because he needed to win
I
several.
don't think so.
he did, no.
He blew. In my personal opinion, he blew it out. He
That's
did.
James McAvoy.
Yeah.
He
That's it.
did so many. All right, so he had
Oh,
personality
man, yes.
disorder. Oh, he did so many personalities so well. Like I don't know. It's 16.
The mother, like the
Oh.
older sibling. Oh my!
I forgot
gosh.
how many
And then
personalities
when
he
goes into
has.
the beast.
Yeah.
Yes,
You can, that's not.
and
That,
he's just like flipping them, and it's just like you believe it. You believe it.
And
it's
this is
such
the
a-
lit one, Glass.
no, this is Split.
This
That's
is
Split.
Split.
Okay.
There's a, Glass looks dope.
Split as in split personality.
Yes. But I don't want to ruin it for
The
you.
way he does it,
Okay.
and does it because, like I said, I've seen a few scenes from it. I've seen when he did the Beast, because that's like the last character you see him.
And that's
transform
not
into.
even the
It's-
best
yeah,
part.
it's
To be honest with
literally,
you,
it's what
it's
he
great.
Yeah.
So, all right.
So the post credit scene of Split.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see it in the theaters. I bought the DVD at home and I watched it. I didn't know that it was in that world. And when I saw Bruce Willis, I immediately watched Unbreakable again.
Yes.
Watched Split. I think I watched it like maybe 2 or 3 times. That's
Yeah.
that same night.
Yeah.
Amazing. It's the post credit scene was subtle. It was sweet and to the point. It was nothing more
It
than
lets you know. Mm-hmm.
Bruce Willis. I don't want to. Never mind.
Okay.
It-
I got
Yes,
you.
it
Yeah.
was-
It tells the whole story right there. I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about. It tells the whole story. The minute that you saw his character, you put 2 and 2 together, like, oh,
Oh
okay.
God!
yes,
Nerdgasm. Like, yes. Yes. You definitely watch Split. I gotta watch. I'll say you watch Unbreakable as well, but watch Split. Dorko, it is dope.
Okay.
But I mean,
It is
if you
dope.
But if you really want to get the sense of what we're expecting from Mr. Glass, you have to watch Unbreakable, because everything
fair
his character did to find Bruce Willis's character, because he was the one that was responsible for all those tragedies that were happening.
Yep.
And when he
Yep.
found out the guy who was supposed to be your friend, he was like, "No, I'm supposed to be your arch nemesis." He's like, "They called me Mr. Glass, the kids and all that." I was like, "Wow!" I was like, "That was the scene right there
Yep.
that made Unbreakable a classic."
Yes. It was so good. Like just because he was honing him, like he was trying to make him believe that he can be a hero.
Right.
You're the only one that survived.
And we-
This is why you survived. And then he was responsible for tragedy after tragedy after tragedy. And then you find him, and then the hero realizes it was you this
Right.
entire time.
the guy who was training you,
The
the
guy
guy,
who's
who was
training-
your friend, the guy who,
It's like and this is one of the, I'm gonna do a hard sidetrack. This is why season 1 of Flash was so good. Because when he finds out that he
Yes.
was
Right.
reverse
Mhm.
Flash.
Yes. Okay.
that was.
I
yeah.
will say my favorite part of season 1, because that's the one I really watched.
Yeah.
Of Flash was when he went back to save his mom,
Oh.
and then he saw himself, and in that moment, himself was like, "Don't do it, bro."
Yeah.
And I was like,
And he still did it anyway.
I know, but still,
The following season.
the
Yeah,
following
yeah.
season, but like,
they,
it was,
they wanted a point for Flashpoint.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, technically, it has to happen
Yeah.
in a sense, but it was just like, my mind was
Yeah.
blown. Like,
But that was the teaser for Flashpoint.
Yeah.
Let's be real. That's what that was.
But when he did it, so in just going to Flashpoint, when he went back the second time, and he had to now, it's just even worse because before it was like you watched your mom die, you was told not to do it. Now the second time you're bringing the person back now to kill your mom. It's because he had to bring reverse. He has to bring reverse. Yeah, but
Dawn was going to come back.
correct. But the fact that now
Yeah.
I have to now open the door and let you in, as
Yeah.
opposed to you're breaking in and I'm just kind of like a bystander. But now
Right.
I'm giving you the key to the house. That's all type of fucking up your
oh
mind.
my god. Anyway,
But then that leads like, we're going back with Glass. I know you're going to say something.
yeah.
After all these surprises we've had at the end of Unbreakable, at the end of Split, it makes you wonder, what are they going to do in Glass? And I feel
They're gonna expand.
no, they're going to.
M. Night
And
really-
I feel wait, and I watch this. They go that there's a person who's playing the psychiatrist because what was it? They had all three of them in a room like a psychiatric ward.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the one we're going to have to look at in this movie is the psychiatrist.
Ooh,
That's possible. That's true. That's possible. I mean, this would be if M. Night plays his cards right and whoever's behind him, you can expand on this.
oh yeah.
It doesn't have to be just those three.
Listen, he owns the rights to a lot of his movies, which is like, thank you. No more Last Airbenders. You redeemed yourself with Split.
minus Airbender.
Yeah,
Agreed.
yeah, no, you
Agreed.
redeemed yourself with Split. You did.
Thank you. I actually have
He has-
the Last Airbender series.
Oh.
Avatar. It's really dope.
You mean the TV show?
Well,
Or
the
movie. Talk
the
about
cartoon,
the
yes.
Cartoon. The
oh, the
cartoon.
oh yeah, yeah, no,
The
the
cartoon.
That's the
cartoon.
cartoon, not the movie.
Did you see the follow up, Legend of Korra?
Yeah.
Yeah, of
Okay.
course.
I was
awesome, dude.
geeking out for that one.
Okay.
I was up to it. Anyway, I'm gonna move forward
Yes.
and bring us to another universe. The Reign of the Superman.
Bloop, bloop, bloop.
It's supposed to drop January 15th, I think.
Right.
Regular Blu-ray.
Fathom Events is doing a double feature with that.
Yeah.
Death of Superman plus Reign of Superman.
January 13th, I
Yep.
think they're doing it.
Well then,
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing.
Because I think it drops off the digital or the actual movie drops that same day or the next day. I don't know. It's one of the.
Well, it probably is. But 13th is the movies. 15th is the digital release. So
Okay.
most likely the 15th.
I thought the digital releases come before the hard copies.
No. The movie Phantom.
Oh,
the movie
right,
13th,
right.
And
Right.
then the 15th.
Got you. Okay.
Cool.
The reign of the Superman.
I told my sister, I was like, maybe. I was like, maybe. Depends.
Well, we are in a Hall of Justice. We gotta talk about it.
I just want to say, I'm really excited. I watched another trailer of it again. I'm really excited.
It looks really good.
because
Yeah.
I want to see what they do and how far they get into it before Kal-El, the original Kal-El, comes back.
Comes back,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we know he's coming back, right?
Of
Yeah.
course.
I don't think they're gonna do the Superman blue and Superman red, but
No,
he's
they-
coming
No.
back.
No,
I'm
that's-
just
that's-
saying-
that's-
They're not doing
I'm
that.
It
just-
was the Superboy.
Uh-huh.
It was the
No, I'm just saying for
Eradicator,
Kal-El.
the Steel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's me. Sorry, it's telling me to breathe because I'm too excited.
My wife does the same thing. Just
What I'm saying is, I'm looking forward to seeing how Superman, the character Kal-El, the original one, is going to be developed when he comes back, and I wonder if they're going to kind of. And I'm sorry to do this. I wonder if they're going to take away from like Justice League, where he kind of comes back and he's a little shady. You know what I'm saying? He's a little more like, I just came back from death. You know what I'm saying? Like, stop what you're doing.
I mean, I feel like he's gonna do like he did in the comics. He came back, just threw his dick on there, like, "Yeah, I'm back, bitches." he's like, it's thrown at the table. I'm back, bitches. I snapped some people up. There we go.
And powerless, too. I'm going to see if they even do that, too.
he's
Oh, the
going to be
powerless
powerless.
version?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's how he comes back. He has no powers. And it's, I think, Eradicator that tries to save his life. And then, I
Yeah,
guess,
and he
some
gets,
of...
like,
yeah.
absorbs it and all that.
Oh,
I'm interested. Yeah, I'm all in
I'm
on
definitely
that.
looking forward to see what this movie had that the first one didn't. That's what I'm really looking forward to see. All these characters, Cyborg, Superboy, Steel, Eradicator,
Which one that they didn't have?
Superman, Doomsday.
Oh,
You know, I had
I
that...
want to see Doomsday beat the shit out of more people.
I had that that DVD like for
Facts.
years after I got it. I just put it downstairs and I was like, free, take it.
Like, I love the fight between him and Superman, but I wanted to see Doomsday just beat the shit out of more people, like he did in the comics. Like,
Right.
just-
Well, he
was
did,
just
though.
he was two piecing people.
Yeah.
He beat not Supergirl. He beat Wonder Woman to a pulp.
Yeah.
He beat Green Lantern. He beat Flash. He
Everybody.
beat
no,
Batman.
but in the I think I understand what Sebastian's coming
Punched the
from.
cop through a wall.
He went through the whole hall of
Hall-
the
the
hall
whole-
of justice, like
My man
the
was like,
everybody,
"Max," he was-
Hawk Girl,
He was taking them
Hawk
out like
Man.
Tic Tacs.
I mean, you know,
Blue
Grant-
Beetle had no chance.
Right.
Everyone on that roster had no chance. Booster Gold, Guy Gardner,
Martian Manhunter, like he went through everybody.
Fire, right? She
Yeah.
was in it too. Yeah, he went through everybody on there.
I am doing my best not to look through the comics. You know, so I'm going to wait until the movie comes
movie.
out to
I feel
refresh
you.
my memory. Then I'm going to go back and read the comics. But
Why do that? Just watch it. You're not spoiling anything for yourself.
The only cool thing that I liked about the first one, Death of Superman, was that nice little throwback where Lex goes in the elevator and he has the wig, the red wig and the beard.
yeah.
You know, so, and takes it off. He's like, "All right, I'm here."
Here's a question: are we gonna get an infamous Batman Batgirl sex scene again?
Oh, wow. From
Not
what
in
was
this
that?
movie.
You said your Superman just fly by there in the corner.
You know what's crazy? I was thinking about it, right? So one of my I like Supergirl, believe it or not. I actually like Supergirl in the movies because I feel like they make her a little bit more interesting. You know,
They've been doing a hell of a good job with her on the TV shows.
definitely. I haven't checked out that the show. I'm on it. I heard. Brooklyn Boy T has been giving me so much crap for it.
Give him shit for that.
Gotta watch it.
So the reason why is because, like, you know, she's more powerful than Superman technically. In most
yes.
most
Right,
iterations,
yeah.
most iterations, because she was circling around the sun before they found her and all this other stuff, and she had more time to absorb the rays. It's funny. One time,
But she's older too.
And she's older, yeah. Mm-hmm.
it'd have been dope if while he's getting his butt kicked by Doomsday, she just comes and helps him out and beats Doomsday. That'd have been dope. That'd have been dope.
But even that wasn't like the real Supergirl in the comics to begin with. That was like a clone of Lex. And she got knocked like 1, 2, 3. Like all she did was like punch her. Yeah, she melted and fell to the ground.
I never understood that Supergirl. Like, what was it? Like, yeah,
They're working on it.
That was a
Power Girl.
But she
Bring
was-
back Power Girl.
But she what?
Power Girls is not tits. Let's go. Let's be real.
But this is
Yeah,
Lex.
well-
Lex created her, so it's only obvious that she was like all over him during that storyline.
Ooh, speaking of which, is Young Justice still coming out?
Yes.
Yo,
Yes.
I cannot
January.
wait.
You better get your DC subscription.
You're right,
January.
sir.
Early January.
DC has stacked the deck with their stuff.
Yeah.
That's what they did. They were like, Harley Quinn's coming out with a pretty dope show. Did you see the trailer for the Harley Quinn
Yeah.
show?
Yeah.
Mhm.
That was pretty funny. And
That
I'm
was
like,
pretty
it's-
funny.
Oh man, and what was it? They took a pot shot at Deadpool.
Yes. Yeah,
He's
she
like,
did.
Yeah, not like that Deadpool show. I'm like,
Oh.
shade. That was,
Love
that's
it.
fun-
But I
that's
love
fun-
that.
That's friendly banter. I like that banter.
See?
That's funny.
And just a kind of side note, like when Wendy's, right? They don't sponsor us, but when Wendy's takes shots at all the other competitors on Twitter,
Right.
it's so much. It's
it's
so
fun.
funny,
It's fun.
right?
It's
We
fun.
love
That's
it. We
fun
love
banter.
banter like
Yeah.
that. So when she did that, I was like, "Oh, this is dope. What are they going to
wasn't-
answer with?"
It wasn't like the Zack Snyder shade when he shitted
Yeah.
on Ant-Man. No, this was fun because it's like, again, friendly banter. It's like that brings back to a time when we used to see the studios cross over.
Yeah.
When we used to see the Marvel versus DC. We would see like this character, that character.
Mm.
Punisher for some reason ends up in Gotham just killing everybody. Like,
Yep.
those were the old days.
Yeah.
That's what that was.
There was a lot of those comics that crossed over. You saw Spider-Man and Nightwing. You know, you saw Batman and the X-Men.
I'm still
Right.
wrapping my head around the Archie and Punisher crossover.
That was an actual thing.
Archie and Predator was an actual thing too.
Yeah.
Yep. You got also Stargirl. They're working on Stargirl for the DC Universe,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
also Swamp Thing.
Swamp. Yeah.
God, I'm looking forward to Swamp Thing.
So I just want to say really quickly, right? Because you brought me to Punisher, right? John Bernthal. I had to look up his name just to make sure I got it correct. John Bernthal, if I'm not mistaken.
He's the man, by the way.
He is the man that you want to play like confused, conflicted men.
Well,
All right,
Shane
he
from
started
Walking Dead.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Shane from Walking Dead.
Shane from Walking Dead, the Punisher, and if you guys ever check out Widows, right, he's one of the guys who he's actually in the movie. First of all, how about
yeah?
that? Hooray! Yeah, he's in the movie, and he's one of the guys in the heist. Right, he's
Okay.
obviously one of the husbands that die, but his character there, and he's like, you hate him, and he's conflicted, but you hate him, and it's like this falls in his
Nice.
category. This is him.
Nice.
Give you a little history of John Barton. When he was doing the role of the Punisher, when he got the role, there are stories of him going to comic shops, picking up
Punisher comics. Yep.
Yeah.
And he would go to them like, "Listen, can you recommend any books from your?" And they were geeking out. He was literally studying the character. Heath Ledger did the same thing with the Joker,
Yeah.
Right.
which is why he knocked it out the park. Which says, lesson learned: you study the character, you know the character you're playing, and this is why John Barton.
It's research. It's research.
He knocks it out the park with every character he plays.
My sister tagged me in a video on IG of Heath Ledger's father looking through the journal of him like developing the Joker character. That was pretty cool. With the Oscar right next to it.
Yeah. I mean,
That's why-
he earned that Oscar.
he did.
He more than
that's
earned
right.
that, like, for real.
I don't
That's
care.
what I was saying,
I don't
yeah.
care if people call it the sympathy vote. He earned it.
He earned it.
He earned it.
He did.
Put it this way: Jared Leto played the Joker after him, right? Jared Leto. We could always argue the fact that he didn't get to play the role of the Joker because he had so little screen time.
Yeah.
I don't think he really played the role of the Joker because he relied too much on his method acting.
Right.
And it's like, fine, I understand you're trying to own the character to bring your version of the character, but it looked like the Joker and Tony Montana banged, and that's what we got.
Right. That's exactly what I thought
we
of.
gotta-
I mean, he took typical, I guess, crazy Joker, and he mixed it with mashed it with something else
Yeah.
that he wanted to bring to the table.
At the end of the day, it was.
I want to see the Joaquin Phoenix version.
Yes.
Which looks very interesting.
Yeah.
We could talk about
What we
that,
got in Suicide Squad was basically like a coked out, drugged out version of Joker.
Okay. Well,
That explains the one. I'm sorry.
Jack Nicholson. A lot of people go back and they fall back to
Jackie.
Jack Nicholson as the original Impact Joker. Besides Romero,
he's the gangster Joker,
Right. and he did his part. Don't get me wrong, but Heath Ledger's Joker was so impactful. Like, you forgot the movie was about Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be real. You forgot the movie. Like, sometimes you forget Batman's in it. And,
Right.
and I sent a text to these guys the other day, and I was like, what if Christian Bale's Batman was underdeveloped? You understand? Because they rushed a lot of things, and don't get me on the allegory of the cave and Rises and whatnot. Don't get me started on that.
Joker stole the show.
Yeah.
He owned it.
And the only reason why Dark Knight Rises ended up being the way it was is because of Ledger's death.
Yeah.
I think he was bound to appear in the sequel as well.
No doubt.
Even if it was a small
Yeah,
role, they had plans.
Right.
They were going to keep his character.
Yeah.
I think they were going to bring more of his character because, again, Joker didn't die at the end of the movie.
No.
Who died at the end of the movie was Two-Face.
Right.
Which is crazy.
Mhm.
Oh, anyway.
The only mention of Joker, I guess, is in the novelization for the Dark Knight Rises, where they mentioned Joker, that they transported all the prisoners from Blackgate except one, and that one was Joker.
But also, too, look at it. I mean, they were good at reoccurring characters because even Scarecrow kept coming back.
Yeah.
And I liked his
Mm-hmm.
rendition.
It was a
He
minor
was
role, but he was in
He
it.
was in the
The
third.
Carmody,
his job.
He's the only one besides Christian Bale and everyone else that was in all three.
Yeah.
Even if it was a minor role, he was in all three.
Wasn't he like the judge in the third movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
all that?
Yeah.
It's like, come on, it's. Oh man.
No, it was definitely a good world. I think that trilogy was.
You know what's a
was
good world?
perfect.
Can we talk about DC Titans, though?
Oh, let's talk about
Okay,
Titans. Let's talk about Titans.
Batman.
So these two guys. So Dorko and Brooklyn Boy T were talking about DC Titans for the longest, right? Brooklyn Boy T, if I remember correctly, you were trying to hold out until everything finished, and then you were going to binge watch it, correct?
Yes.
That didn't happen.
No, I jumped back into it exactly 1 week later.
Weekly.
I caught up within the last 3 days, okay? Because I had to go to work, and I couldn't watch while I work, although I tried. I'm not going to lie to you. Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
I know, right? All that profanity.
The only complaint people have had has been Starfire's costume, but other than that, everybody says the show is just awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Starfire's costume is explained perfectly. I think it's not even really explained, but it's hinted at. You know,
Yeah.
it's like she was at a party.
Yeah, and
She was
that's-
at a party,
that's what they said, but
and
that's
it's
the only complaint
her color. Those are her
Those are her colors.
her outfit color.
Yeah.
What I love about this series is that they're really sticking to the formula as much as possible, and then they're also this would happen. For instance, Doom Patrol. A lot of people don't know that Beast Boy was with the Doom Patrol.
Mm-hmm.
I know for a fact because I used to check out that comic way back when.
And then their show's coming out too. Oh my God.
yes.
The Doctor, I forgot his name now.
The Doctor, however, I was a little bit confused because I know at some point DC announced that Timothy Dalton was going to play the Doctor, and I was waiting for this
To see
episode
him.
to see it, but it was a completely different actor.
Yeah.
I was like, "Fuck, okay, I guess he's coming out when the show comes
I
out."
just shade to throw on the actor that played Dove, Hawk or Dove.
Hawk?
Guy to girl.
It's Hawk is the guy, Dove is the
Hawk.
girl.
Yeah.
He played Hawk.
Uh-huh.
Aquaman.
Aquaman.
Gave everybody shade on super. We're doing great things. So who watches this Marvel stuff and all that. Again, that wasn't a friendly pot shot. That was just him being a dick who says I didn't read comics and all that. Again, he needs to take lessons from
Comics
Harley
are
Quinn.
great stories. Get over yourself. Anyway,
Yeah.
so going back to Doom Patrol, not you, Omar, the guy. The Doctor, I remember the Doctor being a little bit of a dick in the comics. And it's he got humbled once he broke his back again. I was
Yeah.
that's
This is
true
good.
to the formula.
Yes.
Robin, right? And even Jason. Okay, so going back to
Jason Todd.
Remember
Yep.
I told you. Okay.
So when Jason Todd, did everybody watch it? Did you watch it, Omar? I'm looking at you. Huh?
I'm bit, bro.
Okay,
I
okay.
was at Rhode Island Comic
Okay,
Con.
I just want to make sure. So when Jason Todd beat up the police, it falls right and it pays homage to all the iterations of Jason.
Right.
Like, especially under the red hood when he was acting out and just like beating people up like, I don't care. And he even said, I'm Robin. Like, I'm good.
He does what it takes to he does what Batman can't do.
Right. Yeah. And then Robin himself, Dick Grayson's out here. He's having like a little tantrum. He's like, I'm trying to get out of Batman's wing, but you're still wearing the Robin suit.
Yep.
And I'm like, yo, this fits.
He's like, I know who I am. What about you?
You don't.
Who are you?
That so
Hits
with the
at
introduction to when Jason Todd came, they did change it a little bit because when Jason Todd first came, he was almost like a carbon copy of Dick Grayson. He wasn't violent.
Yeah.
But that was changed later on with later.
Yeah, because they wanted to kill all. Yeah.
Fans voted him.
Yeah.
Fans voted him. And then when he came back, they as Red Hood, they redid his intro.
Yeah.
And then
seeing him as a violent Robin, which I don't think we've ever seen that.
Well, aside from flashbacks and Under the Red Hood.
Right.
Yeah, right, okay.
As a violent Robin, live action with Dick Grayson still as Robin was a joy to see. It was a joy to see.
You know what's crazy? Can I just add on one
yeah.
thing? I love it, because I want you to finish your
Yeah.
thought. I love when the Bat family comes together.
Yeah.
And I like that they have the little spats and arguments, but I love seeing them work together.
I agree.
And then they have like little moments. Like I love it when Damian was trying to establish dominance. Like, I'm the better Robin of all the Robins.
Yeah.
And of course he got his butt kicked by Dick Grayson, but then he got back at Dick. You know what I'm saying? And it's him. Like, I love that. So when I saw this, I was like, what's gonna happen?
So
and then
good.
okay, yeah.
It was so good. All right, so in this world, so when Robin loses his shit, and when Dick Todd loses his shit, he goes at the cops.
Yeah.
You know, and then you're seeing Dick Grayson, who has been a loose cannon this entire show,
Bruh.
now has to come to the defense and is like, dude, what are you? Batman cannot be okay with this. Remember, he said Batman cannot be okay with this, which shows you right there that Batman was never okay with Dick Grayson's violence. So, which means that Dick Grayson, we don't even know who Batman is at this point.
Batman's an absentee father. Real talk. And and to be real, going back to the comics, it's interesting because I feel like what they did was they highlighted Batman's absence in these juveniles' life. Yes. Like, he was there to like take them under the wing, but ultimately he was on some.
As a father figure, he just was absent.
Right, he just wasn't there.
Like,
but is that true?
Think about this. We were talking about it the other day. I was talking about it with Lawrence. Shout out to Lawrence Tales of Law. Tales of Law. How Batman. Because someone had a conversation about, like, well, Batman, his whole thing is privilege. Like, no, Batman's a broken character.
Right.
So think about it. He doesn't know how to really be a father in a way because he lost his father at an early age.
Right.
So it's like, it kind of transitions to the fact is this. He's so much of his goal not wanting to see people go through the same circumstances that he's gone through. That he's forgetting about these kids that he brought up to teach, how to fight and all that.
Right.
And forgets that it's the Bat Army. The Bat family, the Bat Army, he trains them, puts them together.
That's it.
At the end of the day, they have their squabble, but they get together and they get the job done.
Right.
And in this case here, I don't think Batman has necessarily abandoned anybody. I think that Grayson is the one who abandoned him. And then I do think that with Jason Todd, because again, Jason Todd doesn't act this way when Batman is around. Because he even said it, what he doesn't know can't hurt him. So for him to, right, very interesting. So he trusts Jason Todd to go out to find, because he doesn't, at this point in time, it's like, Batman's, I don't know if you consider Dick Grayson to be a son or a brother to Batman, depending on what story you're reading. But let's say in this world, it's a father.
It's a son.
It's like a father-son relationship.
I think it's always been that way, no matter how they put it in whatever storyline.
Yeah.
The Dick has always been his son, and he even says it in the Injustice storyline.
Right.
Like he's my son. He's my real son. Yeah.
So it's almost like, all right, so me and my son has gone through a spat. I'm not going to go back to my son first. My son is going to come to me, which is why he goes, hey, you could go talk to your brother if you want to. Here, this is what you can do to him. I will not make the phone call.
But okay, and first of all, shout out to Batman because he had a tracer in every one of them.
Right,
Yeah.
yo, what?
And Dick didn't know. Okay, so
That's the thing.
this is a
Yeah,
great blow to the Bat Club because I'm a Bat fan. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a Bat
Chip
fan
them
for
all.
sure. Sorry. As perfect as we think Batman is, we acknowledge that he's human. We forget that he's even way more human. He's way more flawed. The fact that you're allowing these vigilantes, who's just as accomplished and dangerous, let's say dangerous as you are, to do their own thing. The crazy thing is, Jason Todd is like, oh, he said, the police always knock me down. Now's my chance to do them. Those were the police in Gotham. You're in Detroit, bro.
Yeah.
You're in Detroit. This is totally different. And
He
then
doesn't see it like that.
And then I'm pretty sure he's keeping, because Batman keeps tabs on everybody. He's keeping tabs on Dick. He's seeing what Dick's going through, but he hasn't contacted him.
Right.
He hasn't reached out to him. He said, Jason, he's pretty sure he's going to see what happened. Oh my God. When Batman does come, I want to see that conversation. I don't know if it's going to be season 2.
It's going to be this
gonna
season.
be
It's going to be
whoever
this season.
It's going to be interesting when whoever they cast as Batman, it's someone that's going to have to be commanding for the character and all that. It's going to be tough to see someone cast as Batman because right now Arrow's doing their thing. We're seeing Batwoman. Bruce Wayne was already mentioned on Arrow. So we already know that there's different versions of Batman.
Yeah.
What version we're going to get on this show is going to be the most interesting thing, and who they cast, because we know that that's a big thing right there. If they cast just any run-of-the-mill actor who drops the ball, that can hurt everything.
Yeah.
Like with Ben Affleck's Batman, nothing against Ben Affleck's Batman. A lot of people still didn't take on it because they felt he still had that Daredevil chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
But it will be interesting.
I just want to see eventually what's going to happen is when he does appear, it's going to be a fight between him and Dick Grayson. And I don't think it's going to be a fight initiated by Batman. I think the rage of Grayson is going to come out, and then it's not going to be a fist fight from Batman's perspective. It's going to be one of those, you're going to swing, I'm going to block, and then the last hit is going to be, now I'm just going to take you down hard.
Or they could do like the whole he does the whole nonverbal thing where just like Dick will just shout at every single little thing at Batman, and Batman will, like in true fashion, we'll just stand by. We're like, okay,
when Batman's done that in the comics and the cartoons, when Dick will yell at him or any one of the Bat children, that actually was more impactful than them fighting.
Yeah,
because like you're shouting at Batman, he's just sitting there, just like, okay.
I mean, there's been different, versions of the story where like there's that tension between Batman and Robin. Like you even see it in the animated series. The last season where he's talking to not Jason Todd, Tim Drake, because he was asking him like what happened between you two, and they point to the flashback where Dick is just like letting it all out, and he punches Batman, like he sucker punches him, like bah, like I'm done with you, I'm done being Robin.
Yeah, no. The way I'm thinking about
he
it,
felt, right? Batman
Yeah.
So then, like, the interesting thing is, right? Go back to Mask Under the Red Hood, right? Remember how Jason Todd kind of gave him like a run, and like Batman kind of fought him, and it seemed like Jason had he had a little bit he could beat him pretty much. That was definitely answered. Like Batman just chose not to fight you fully. Because and another, he totally beat like Jason Todd. Like, he beat his butt in some story. He like shut him down, right?
First of all, yeah, go ahead, keep on. Sorry.
No. So I'm just saying, what I'm looking forward to doing is it kind of happening in this series in Titans, because he has to address the emotional factor that he left those two unchecked. And not to say Dick needs to be checked, but Dick has a lot of rage still.
Right.
Like the fact that Dick allowed the guy who killed his family to die like that. Batman, you had to know what happened. Why didn't you check him?
What are you talking about?
So when Maroni was being transferred, and Dick took him out,
right,
and that whole situation on the bridge, where were you, Batman, and why didn't you check him?
Agreed, but remember, he's still Batman, right? So he could have been. I mean, that could be easily retrofitted to say he was someplace else doing something else.
That was like pure like in the, to me it was like a reference to the Batman Begins where he's telling Ra's al Ghul, he's like, I'm not gonna kill you, but I don't have to save you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But even still,
but that was just violent. He just left him.
Yeah, man.
Batman had to have known. He would have went over the scene of the crime and went over everything.
Right.
Why didn't he check him? You know what I'm saying?
But I think he did, because that happened. I think that was that scene was the downfall of Robin.
Right.
You know, I think that began the downward spiral.
Right.
You know, of the character. So
it's like, you got your revenge, man. Act up. Right.
I just want to see it. I do think there's going to be a confrontation, whether it's going to be verbal or physical. Yeah. I do think it's going to be from Robin to Batman, and not necessarily Batman doing anything about it. You know, I don't think he's gonna. I don't think he's gonna put Batman on his ass like in the cartoon. I do think Batman's gonna end up, if it is going to be a fight. I do think Batman's going to counter everything and then put him down hard.
Let me ask you.
Not like put him down hard, but just probably knock him out. Yeah.
How many episodes is this season stated for? Do we know?
The last episode I think is the week of December 21st.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is like when Aquaman comes out.
Right.
We still haven't gotten Cyborg, you know. We're gonna talk about Aquaman in a bit. We still haven't gotten Cyborg, you know.
Cyborg on Titans?
For Titans.
I don't think he's going to be on Titans.
Yeah,
you don't think so at all?
It's the whole thing with the Justice League and all that.
Yeah,
I don't
really?
know how they got. Well, the thing is that they
well, that makes sense.
You also
because
got
he was
on
on
special effects budget too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're not going to
right.
want. They're not going to want to.
But they did Doom Patrol. Did you see the?
They did.
They listen, it's
okay. I got you. Okay,
they're gonna confuse people, and then
what I think
Cyborg was on Justice League. What's going on?
What I think is interesting is for a while now, like when they were like trying to figure out who's gonna be like the next Batman around the time of BVS, Matt Boomer was like one of those guys who they threw out there. I just think it's interesting. He's playing Negative Man, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, but I mean, you don't see him, but he's under that. But I liked also Brendan Fraser's thing when he goes back to and he sees the photos of himself. I was like, that's cool that they actually made him play like his human self,
right,
and threw him in
that's
there.
Cool.
So
Brendan Fraser's getting some, some work.
I hope they bring Cyborg. I mean, technically, he was on the Justice League and Teen Titans,
well,
whatever.
Maybe
but
since the whole Justice League is still fresh in people's minds, maybe they might. I don't know. Like the whole DCU, they need to rethink some of their points of where they're going with these movies. Obviously now some of the movies are not going to be linked. Like the Joker movie is not going to be linked with anything,
which is cool.
Which is cool. I'm kind of after seeing like Joaquin Phoenix looking like the Joker, I'm interested to see his version.
Yeah.
I hope they introduce me. I understand what people are going. I hope they introduce some version of Cyborg. Maybe we get into the character gradually in Titans. Because you can't have the core Titans without Cyborg. I mean, I would love to see Tara. We already see pictures of Donna Troy.
Yeah.
There's a Judas contract, though.
Well, that would be like, okay...
They'll have to be after they establish
themselves. Would they bring
themselves.
Deathstroke?
Right.
They
have to.
Because he's supposed... They're like, Deathstroke is like... This is the thing why I don't like what they do. DC needs to stop their we're going to call it bullshit. Mm-hmm. If you remember in Arrow, one of the seasons of Arrow... Harley Quinn technically was supposed to be on the show.
Right.
She was there as a silhouette.
Mm-hmm.
Hence their Suicide Squad.
And voice.
Yeah. But then they nixed that because Harley Quinn was in
the Suicide Squad.
And then we got this watered down version of the Suicide Squad in Arrow. Still worked. They ran what they did. The same thing now is happening with Deathstroke. Now, I'm glad that they let the actor Manu Bennett walk away. Like, he's still alive somewhere in the universe where they could still use his character. But now that you have Joe Magniolo, I can't say his last name. I'm sorry, Joe. You're awesome, dude. But they have him playing Deathstroke. Want to see him get a chance because they want to see that, with whatever Batman movie. But now it's like, now you can't use Deathstroke for the show. I'm like, what are you guys doing to your characters?
Yep.
Yeah.
You've established that these are different universes and all that. Let them play with the characters.
Right.
Let them do
Just
it.
leave it. Let it be.
It's always some kind of like contractual property type of thing. Just like Gotham, they won't let them, paint his hair green or even use the term Joker.
Right.
Because they want to leave that, I guess, for the big screen.
But it's like it's stupid.
It's
like
hurting them.
Stuff, yeah, it's.
But in cartoon form, in animated form, sky's the limit. They use whatever the hell they want.
I think what they should be doing is, and this goes back to, let's just compare Marvel and DC for a second. Marvel, everything is thought out. DC, I think they just say
Marvel's in a conundrum right now too.
With what?
The TV, the shows and the movies are in different divisions. And,
right. But what I mean is, like everything is thought out in long process. Where DC, it kind of seems like they just throw shit to the wall and whatever.
But they've been doing it for a longer time.
Yeah.
They have that chance where they can reinvent. Don't get me wrong. No, I agree with everything you're saying, right? So, like, all right, real easy way to think about this is the Joker, right? We had Jack Nicholson's Joker hit the big screen, gangster Joker, that weird Gotham City. It made sense for that time.
Right.
The Long Halloween happened. Christopher Nolan wanted to do the Joker again. You can't do Jack Nicholson, obviously.
Yeah,
you can't do that Joker. But we do the Long Halloween Joker. We do little tidbits of
You know what it is? It's Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Warner Brothers is depending on the names too much.
Yes.
Whereas with Marvel, remember the original Marvel movies before
The Killing Joke. There you go.
remember the original Marvel movies, the Captain America movie, the original Punisher movie,
Fantastic
those all-
Four.
Oh God,
Yeah.
Oh,
It's on
God.
YouTube.
Oh God, that would be stricken from the record. No, it's like their movies suck, and then Marvel was going bankrupt, sold some of their properties. Blade did well. They started making more superhero movies. Sony did Spider-Man and all that. But then it wasn't until Marvel actually jumped into the fray
With
and did
Disney
their own
behind them.
studio. Yeah, because I think those
Before Disney. That was before Disney.
Okay, before, okay.
Iron Man predates Disney,
Okay.
but they created a whole system, and this is when Kevin Feige reported directly to Marvel. When Disney purchased Marvel, then he got that Disney money, and all the sky's the limit. But no,
Bought that
they,
Lambo.
They planned everything, and it's like it just shows who's resting on the name of their characters and who's actually working on story. Because, first of all, Guardians of the Galaxy, probably the most obscure property you could bring to the big screen. And they hit it with a home
Right.
run.
Mhm.
Twice.
Yes, twice. Yet DC took them how long to make a Wonder Woman movie? Wonder Woman's technically supposed to be one of your big three. You only did Batman, you only did Superman, you did the failed Green Lantern movie, which we get the jokes all the time.
Yeah.
in Deadpool.
That movie was horrible.
But thank you for fixing the timeline, Deadpool. But no, it's like, how long did it take it? And Wonder Woman, fans reacted better with that than Batman versus Superman. Fine, we love the Batman we got in Batman versus Superman, which is pretty dope, but then we got some weird version in Justice League.
I don't, but okay.
But everybody was like, the 2 seconds Wonder Woman on, oh my god, we got Wonder Woman. Yeah, we know.
She was
we know.
dope. She was dope in Justice League.
She
was dope. She's commanded the screen in everything that she's done.
Yeah.
Yeah, my
And
only
they
issue with her in Justice League is it seemed like it didn't make sense. Like some of the dialogue that her
A
and
lot
Bruce
of the
was having didn't
characters
make
didn't
sense.
There's a
gel
scene
well. It was
where
rushed.
this family's in this weird country that I forgot, right? And they're hiding from the parademons,
Parademons.
Yes.
with bug spray for as long from 10 minutes into the
It made no sense.
Yeah.
into the end, and they barely get saved.
Listen, I would understand if it was a product placement for Raid.
Was it a product?
No, they didn't put Raid. They had something else. They had generic. Okay,
But it's like this. Like, you can tell, again, Justice League, like, I'm going to get shade for this. Listen, Justice League was rushed. It was rushed.
and there's no reason for that.
Right.
No reason for
It was a
rushed
movie that had potential greatness to it. It could have been great, but they dropped the ball. I mean, it was better than Batman versus Superman. I will admit that. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it more than Batman versus Superman.
Wait.
Brooklyn boy
Are you?
See, he's shaking the head.
I think he's catching a seizure.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Wait. You thought Justice League was better than?
There's
by
no-
a smidgen of pigeon.
No,
That's what I'm
Okay,
gonna do.
wait. We need to handle this in geek fashion.
And
Present your case and why.
I'm gonna present my case and why. Justice League had potential, but you saw each and every flaw because of how scarred we were with Batman versus Superman. So we already knew where to look the flaws. We already knew the movie was rushed. Each and every character was rushed. Each and every character should have started in their own movie.
Okay.
Same thing with Batman versus Superman. These characters shouldn't have met. Again,
I
the only
agree with
reason that
Okay.
it was a smidge and a pigeon better is because it was a little bit enjoyable because of certain scenes, like the whole scene with Superman coming back and he just hands them all their ass. Now, what brings it down is that horrible CGI job that they did on the mustache. It's like, really? You couldn't CGI a mustache?
I'm sorry, but like now when people talk about the mustache, I think of. Did you see Teen Titans Go to the Movies? There was a poster that said Detective Chimp and the Mysterious Mustache or something like that.
Yeah.
Like
That movie was so good.
It was
That movie
good.
was
All right,
so
all right.
good.
It was.
I heard it did well.
Answer him, and then we'll talk about Teen Titans. Go to the movie.
It was.
Because we're gonna
it
get,
was
we're gonna
good.
get
Alright,
sidetracked.
Batman versus
There's no
Superman.
stopping the Batman.
It brought us. I loved Batman versus Superman. The action. There were a lot of plot holes in it, but overall,
my ass with the script. Let's put it that way.
overall, Batman versus Superman is better than Justice League by a big margin.
Give me a reason why you would say that movie is better. Give me one good
You
reason.
do have to provide
Batman
the
being
case.
the detective. Batman being the Bruce Wayne being the detective.
You could have Batman as a detective in any movie. He's
He
always
wasn't
a detective.
in just
Why-
like Batman is my favorite character in Justice League. He was not
But
Batman.
again, this is
he
the
was
thing.
that
He
I
was
don't know.
comedy
He wasn't-
relief.
No.
Too much
He was
comedy.
comedy
That's why I
relief.
said they dropped the ball
Right.
with the characters because they rushed their relationships. If they had done this, where each and every movie, like they did their separate movies, and Batman was finding them at the end of their movies, I go, you know what? That would showcase even more of the detective of him, like kind of like at the end of Iron Man.
Right.
You had Nick Fury jump in.
I agree.
If
I
they
agree.
had done that, it's kind of like this. You got a little bit of that detective Batman at the end of Suicide Squad. So I
Yeah.
agree with that.
Yeah.
You got a little bit of that detective. If they had gone that route and went with separate movies before they did the Justice League movie, then the movie would have been better because you would see the dynamics of the characters get together.
I agree 100%. But that's
That
just
was
the
the
flaw
one
of
thing that
Justice
was
League.
missing. That was the flaw
Right.
of Justice League. There was no dynamics for these characters. It's like we just took a bunch of characters, pulled a hat, we put we're gonna throw the like you could have had Plastic Man in the movie.
Right.
Now in terms of the fight scenes,
Hey,
and
don't you shit on Plastic Man.
I'm not gonna shit on Plastic Man.
All right.
Plastic Man is awesome. I'm saying this is how rushed it was.
Yeah.
The
Not
fight
even-
scene, the
not-
fight scenes in Batman vs Superman. I think there's the action in Batman vs Superman was way better
Here's-
than Justice
It's-
How could you the warehouse scene at the
First
end,
of
the
all,
fight with Batman and
the
Superman,
only great fight
the
they had was when Batman took out that warehouse of people.
so Batman vs Superman wasn't a good fight.
No, I thought that fight was shit because
Oh
it
my
ended with, when you end a fight with a safe word. Come on.
You know I gotta say it.
Come on.
You know I gotta say it.
I'm
Martha.
I'm not saying shit
Dude.
this time around. Like,
Dude.
but keep in mind there were also a lot of flaws when it comes to the production.
Okay.
There were
No,
reshoots.
yes.
It was redirected.
No, Justice League suffered a lot for that.
Yes.
Because first of all, remember, Jack Snyder left in the middle of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you
But-
have so there was already a lot of flaws.
There was
That's why
turmoil in that
But
movie.
I've
There
also
was
read.
turmoil.
I mean,
There was
even while he
turmoil.
was directing Batman v Superman, he had already directed scenes for Justice League.
Yeah.
He did
But
the
then-
he
and
did the
then-
Richard Donner thing where he
Yeah.
did Superman 1 and 2 back to back.
Back-to-back.
But
You
it
know,
was
DC.
But there was a lot of
DC.
mystery.
right, and then you
I
got
agree.
DC, putting their foot, through the door and be like, all right, we're gonna change this, we're gonna change that. This ain't working. Like,
It was the Mortal Kombat effect. You
Yeah.
had too
Yeah.
many. No, it was the Spider-Man 3 effect. You had too many cooks in the kitchen.
right.
No,
DC,
not only
do you
that.
see what you're doing in my family? You're breaking us apart. Get your shit together.
But this goes to my point that Justice League was a smidgen better, even with all the chefs. If they didn't have that, it probably would have been better than Batman versus Superman by a lot more.
That
There were
whole
too many cooks.
That whole
in the
scene
kitchen.
where Superman comes back and he hands like the Justice League's axe to
Oh, yeah,
them.
no,
that
that
was
was great.
supposed to take place in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, Superman was supposed to be in
So-
a lot larger.
I'm gonna let you
Yeah.
finish,
Portion
and I
of
want to
it.
add on. Good.
Oh, so just Batman vs Superman. I think here's the issue with Warner Brothers, and I think we cover this a lot, but it's not like they don't intervene while the movie is shooting. They don't intervene in the script. They wait until everything is done,
Right.
and then intervene. Where Marvel, they kind of, it's like a process.
it shows.
They check in. Hey, how's the movie going, guys? Hey, what's going on here? They don't wait until everything is
Yeah, it
done
goes
and then
back-
try to chop it up.
But it goes back to this. It's like this. When Edgar Wright walked away from the first
Ant-Man.
Yeah.
everybody already assumed the movie was in turmoil. Even Evangeline Lilly was ready to walk away from the movie.
Yeah.
But then she said she read the Marvel script. Okay, I'm going to stay with the movie. She said Edgar Wright was writing an Edgar Wright movie. It didn't fit with the Marvel platform. Even though it was great,
Right.
it didn't fit. Marvel's platform, she's like, they're making a Marvel movie, which is now being called, like, the dubbed Marvel way. So DC, in a way, has to get involved with their projects because they were like, oh, we let our directors do whatever they want. We fuel creativity. Marvel does that too, but they just have a hands-on approach because look at what they did with Black Panther. Look how successful that was. This guy Ryan Coogler came in, but in a way, Marvel still had their hand in the.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Even though they let him do what they wanted to do, it was kind of like when you're at work and you're sending an email, just checking this, what's going on. That's all it takes.
But also, too, when you're directing, you prove yourself with Marvel. When you get the sequel, they let you run with it because you already know how they work, and they already know how you work. Because look at James Gunn. James Gunn delivered Guardians of the Galaxy, and they're like, part 2, you could do whatever you want, Gunn. You could bend it over, stretch aside, because we know you're going to do a great job.
Right.
DC hasn't found that, and that's why, again, with Zack Snyder, I have a love-hate relationship. He delivers beautiful scenes.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
And you delivered shit. Come on.
Quick side note. I read somewhere that the guy who's directed the Bumblebee movie is up for Guardians 3.
Really?
Yeah.
How is that? Did anybody see the Bumblebee movie?
Did it come out? No, I don't think it's out yet.
It didn't come out?
It comes out next month sometime.
Okay, I thought it came out already. All right, so anyway, Batman versus Superman in Justice League. Although I would love to see Injustice movie. I'm gonna say I don't know because what I'm doing is I'm combing not scene by scene, but just like impactful moments. Impactful moments for me for Justice League. All right, we know Superman had the whole team their butt, right? That was great.
One scene when the Flash stopped, it's like, oh shit,
yeah, he can see me.
That was dope. That scene was dope.
The hangar scene where Diana kind of pretty much threatens Bruce in a sense, and Aquaman is like, all right, now we're a team and all this other stuff.
I didn't like that
what about Cyborg? What about his growth overall? I'm just thinking
a lot of that
scenes.
was cut out, and I was very disappointed in that. Like that him where in the trailer he's wearing like the Letterman's jacket.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be like a flashback. If you see like a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, it's him like holographing himself like in like the whole storytelling thing. There's a lot that was cut out.
So and again, it shows you the production issues they had. If they didn't have the production issues that they had, maybe we would have gotten a great movie.
I don't know. I think they're both...
I agree. I agree with that.
I still think the Superman deleted scene should have been in the movie. I mean, like...
Why was it not? Like, I don't...
Because of that mustache.
They messed up. They
were Zack Snyder scenes.
Oh yeah, the way he was walking in the ship.
Yeah,
no, he was walking in the ship. That wasn't a
CGI thing or whatever. That was already done.
Yeah,
you can even tell by his haircut.
Yep.
Like even at the end when he's like talking about like what can I do when he comes back and he punches Steppenwolf, you can see his haircut. You can see that they had to comb it, and he had like whatever haircut that he had in Mission Impossible. Yeah. Like I was just like, damn, yo. But
you can also tell from that scene he had no shoes on, so this is directly following when he came out because he's walking around barefoot. Yeah, he's walking around barefoot. You know what I mean? He's a G. So this was following exactly when he woke up.
I'm gonna interrupt everybody. I want to thank Pete Vasquez, one half of Fat Guy Eating for playing this. We talk passionate about this stuff. We got upset with stuff and all that. We're never going to hate it because we're always going to love it. But we're always going to pick at it.
I hate it.
But it's like, you think about this, when we were all growing up, people have to understand, when we were all growing up,
this is what we wanted to see.
There were no superhero movies. Like, people laughed at superhero movies. So... I know a lot of people probably listening to this and going, oh, you guys should have listen, we thank everyone from writers, actors, like even you, Zach, even though I shit on you a lot, I thank you guys for everything you guys have done because you're bringing our childhood to reality.
Right.
Agreed. We can be disappointed.
Right.
Yeah, but
yeah.
No, in a way, in a sense, we thank you because it was the same thing back in the day. When you get a comic, you looked at the comic like, oh, this is a shit storyline. I don't like this comic, but
no doubt.
It was fun.
It goes with the flow, like whether they put it on paper or on screen, we're either gonna like it or we're gonna hate it.
Let me add on to that. Before social media, and I still think they do, writers used to actually get fan mail.
Oh yeah,
and maybe they even get even more fan mail about what they did and the story and whatnot.
I just think social media is giving the wrong people voices.
Yeah,
right.
Whatever.
Hit the nail on the head right there. That's true.
My whole thing is like, at this point, you gotta listen. You can't. Okay, forget that. You don't have to listen to your fans, but you gotta listen to your craft. You gotta understand that BS is no longer being accepted. Okay, when we come into the movie theaters, yes, we want oh my god. So remember, the Legion of Doom was a thing at one point. The Legion of Doom
and Justice League, and the Justice League,
not Justice League.
The Legion of Doom came on. What was it? Legends of Tomorrow.
Right. I mean, in the big screen, and we had Deathstroke come in, and
yeah. That's Justice League, right?
Yeah. So it's like we look forward to that. As conflicted as I was about the movie, I was purely hyped for that one scene, because you think about all the arch nemesis of the superheroes going against a superhero team that's not really formed, that's still kind of like getting their stuff together, makes a great film.
Right.
However, you made me pay for this lackluster film beforehand, and I'm just like,
that's gonna scare fans away. That's gonna scare fans away. It's gonna give the haters. Bill Maher needs to go be locked in a closet somewhere.
Hold up.
And Rosie Gowan too. But no, it's like this. It's like, and that's the argument I bring to people. It's like, DC needs to watch what they're doing with the movies, because again, we thank everybody for what they're doing. But if like people go, they're going to know a big difference between a DC and a Marvel film. I want DC films to succeed. If they succeed, we all win.
Yep.
But people are going to see the big difference, because I'm like, you know what? I know if I go to Marvel, my money's being well spent. But if I go see a DC movie, it's like.
Wait.
Do I get the $2 hooker or the $1,000 hooker?
Hold on. Animated wise is always good.
Animated wise, they've been hitting it out the park.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I just want to.
And we do have.
How long does that game start? Because even with The Killing Joke, people were a little upset with half of that movie.
Well, the Batgirl thing.
But isn't that what happened in the comic anyway?
No.
The Batman and Batgirl.
Okay.
When he got Batgirl booty.
Okay.
Yeah. But that didn't happen.
No,
and
it was a bad choice. That was a bad choice.
Everybody felt it demeaned the Batgirl character.
Not just the Batgirl character, it demeans everything that happened, because that was a continuation from the TV show.
Right.
From our childhood. The Batman animated series, that it's kind of like
it doesn't fit.
But in a way, in Batman Beyond, they kind of touch up on it that something kind of happened.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So maybe that could be,
which is fine. Like we always knew, like Bruce is.
It was unnecessary.
But even that, it was kind of weird in Batman
He's
Beyond too. It was still weird that it happened in Batman Beyond.
It was unnecessary. Like it had no place there. It really didn't.
Okay.
Even my sister said it, and she saw it in theaters.
Yeah,
it was.
I'm going to move us forward, because we're going to be here always griping about DC. You can always come back. We need to pay homage to the late, great Stan Lee.
Yes.
Previously on HieroGeekics, we talked about what got us into comic books and what made us nerds. And Sebastian, you can answer that. I just want to say it was really Stan Lee that made me the person I am geek-wise. You know what I'm saying? It was really Stan Lee who created the X-Men, who created Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah.
Spider-Man and Friends, which was with Firestar and Iceman. I don't know if you guys remember that. I used to watch that. And as I got to know Stan Lee a little bit more, and the kind of person that he was too, it was dope. Here it is. This guy made a whole comic about human rights. It's called X-Men.
Yes.
Yeah.
a lot of the stuff. I mean, if you've seen Mallrats, he talks about like how everyday life inspired a lot of the characters that we know in Marvel.
I just want to say at one point I used to say that the reason why I love Marvel more than DC was because Marvel was more realistic. And that was before like the switch in pace and whatnot, because Superboy, before Superman and before the writers came over and were like, fans don't necessarily want the hero saves, they want the kind of turmoil thing,
right?
And it happened. Don't get me wrong, because what was it, Dr. Light? What he did to and they brainwashed Dr. Light, the villain. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that happened. You know what I'm saying?
It was the writers. The writers started getting more than that.
Right. So then stories started getting darker. But for me, when I joined the scene, because I was born in '86, when I joined the scene as a kid and I was looking at something like X-Men, to be honest with you, is there ever an X-Men story that isn't really dark?
Yeah.
The animation story.
It started out light and got real. It got darker.
The cartoon was dark. They literally showed you in daylight and it still seemed dark.
It was like the first
in the show.
The first episode of the X-Men cartoon show was
Morph dies.
Right.
I have the DVDs. Morph dies, and he comes. And I told you about that. He comes back and he lures Wolverine into a tunnel. There's like 3 Sentinels, and he's fighting them in the dark. I thought that was a great episode, by the way. And it's just like, wow, this is more realistic and dark. I can kind of like.
And all of this in the first episode.
Yeah, first episode. Well, the Morph one happened, I think, season 2 or 3.
Season 1. Season 1 is when Morph died.
No. We're talking when he came back. That's around the same time. They had Master Mode come back too.
Because he was in charge of it.
Remember when he was sitting stuff?
First episode. There you go.
So wait, hold on. So Mr. Sinister accomplishes what he wants. He captures Jean Grey and Cyclops. I forget. This is definitely
They were on their honeymoon, right?
Yes,
they got married.
Yeah, and what was that?
They would take to the Savage Land.
Savage Land.
This was after the Phoenix, correct?
Yes.
After the Phoenix, he captures him, and I remember Cyclops back, and he's like, "Step away from my wife" or whatever, and he like blasts Mr. Sinister because he's the only one that can hurt Mr. Sinister. I'm like, yo, that was dope. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry. That was a moment.
We just had a moment.
We gotta let Mike wake up a little bit. No, I mean, if you look at it, the very first episode of the X-Men, because, like, for me too, because X-Men was my first foray into comics. I remember picking up an X-Men comic. I was excited when X-Men was getting a TV show. If you look at that first episode, Saturday morning kids, and this again, they challenged kids back then because you know there was topics on it. We had racism and death in that first episode.
Oh yeah. That's why I was hooked on, like, because it was so realistic. It was so relatable in a sense. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
It wasn't like a fairy tale where, like, oh, it's cookie cutter and all that. The good guys win at the no. Sometimes the good
guys lose.
They lost, even though they won. They lost. They just straight up lost. And don't get me wrong, DC changed their tone later on in the years, but it was more prevalent in Marvel at that time.
That Batman show that came out too on Fox, that was holding it down for a
Oh, yeah.
Talk about that. Let me tell you how great that show is, okay? Once again, I'm going to pay homage to the 2-part episode of Clayface. The first part when he's like drowning himself in the chemicals, okay? And it's so sad. I don't want to say season 2, probably like season 3, when the Joker pushed Harley Quinn out the window because she finally did what he couldn't do and captured the Batman.
How broke their relationship was.
Right.
Everybody's like, "Oh, I want a relationship like Harley and Joker." I'm like, "Okay, let me push you out the window then." Our relationship.
She accomplished what he couldn't do.
Yeah.
Batman was.
He got mad.
Although let's pay homage to Joker wanting to copyright Laughing Fish at one point. What's a comic?
Yeah.
But she did it. She did it.
Yep.
Wow.
That was a great.
I was laughing too when the Joker was like, "Yeah, he doesn't mess with the IRS."
Yeah, that shit was hilarious. He's like, "Are you mad? There's, going up against Batman is one thing, but the IRS? No. Remember, because I think the guy left him like X millions of dollars, but only 100 million was real, which obviously he spent it all, and the rest was just like dummy bills."
Right, and he was like, "You didn't even notice." That's the final joke.
Right.
So, what are your guys? What are your favorite Stan Lee cameos?
Cameos?
Man, I like the. Actually, you know what? I like the one when they confirmed he was a Watcher.
Yeah, that's cool.
Probably one of my favorite cameos.
That was Guardians 2?
Yeah, it was in Guardians 2. It's because it confirms something that all the universes, in a way, are connected because Stan Lee has been in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, it makes sense. Like, he has a lot of great cameos. And it's like, it's hard to pick one, but to me, that's probably my favorite because, one, you get to see the Council of the Watchers because he was just talking to them.
Right.
And two, it's like, oh, okay, so that's probably one of my favorite ones.
Okay.
Damn. So many to think about. Because even in the first X-Men, I had to rewind to look at that scene. I was like, oh, look, it's Stan Lee. Like no one really knew who Stan Lee looked like or even remember who he was. But I was the one that like took notice. I was like, oh, when he's coming out of the ocean. I was like, oh shit, that is Stan Lee. Like I have to go back. He's next to the but that my favorite. I would have to say the Avengers, the Avengers 3, when he's like, oh, what, you kids haven't seen a spaceship before? Come on. Like,
which goes back to the whole maybe he's part of every universe type thing. My favorite, I have two, is the Guardian of the Galaxy and or Guardian of the Galaxy 2, I should say, and oh crap, I forgot. Come back to me for a second.
So mine was, believe it or not, he was in Blade, but they cut it out. Mine was actually Big Hero 6.
I like that one.
I was just thinking about
Big
that
Hero
one.
6. First of all, Big Hero 6. I don't know where you guys came from with this movie. You really tear jerked me. All right, like it was just, but then he was in it, and I was like, wait, what? Stanley.
But I have to, at least mention that it's a tie between Avengers and Teen Titans. That's it.
So
we gotta talk about Teen Titans.
So
Teen Titans
mine
cameo
is Guardian of the Galaxy 2 and then Daredevil. They're with the
Daredevil.
the first one.
The
With
movie
with Ben
He stopped
Affleck.
him from across the street?
Starts from across
Yeah.
the street. I don't know why.
Uh-huh.
I really like that scene.
Okay.
I really like that scene. And then the Teen Titans one too. Was like, this is the wrong movie.
Yeah.
I gotta add another one.
He's like, I don't care. I love cameos.
I love it in the last Spider-Man movie, the cameo that he did when Spider-Man was fighting. Who was it that he was fighting? Was it the
Lizard.
The Lizard? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we're right. He was,
And he's in the
Deadpool.
library.
Deadpool.
Oh, yes.
That was a funny one.
Yeah.
I will say I love that fight scene because it actually looked like a lizard kind of fighting a spider. Like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
the lizard actually moved around and everything. Yo, that
Yeah.
was dope.
He caught the table from hitting him.
Yeah,
Hitting him.
That was dope.
He
Oh
was-
man, Stanley, you've made such an impact on us. You have no idea. And maybe you do. We're sorry to see you go, man. But like even to this day, your cameos are classic.
Yeah.
He's filmed all his
Yeah.
cameos already. They have more cameos. They said someone said this. They go, the day that they do a movie and there's no Stan Lee cameo is going to be a sad day.
Yeah.
So it's just going to reinforce. Like, I had this conversation with someone. We saw a genius die.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No doubt.
He is up there with legends like Bruce Lee, Michael Jackson, because in all of their respective fields, these guys were masters. They were
Right.
geniuses. That's why when Bill Maher said what he said, I'm glad that POW Comics, the Stan Lee company, did that open letter.
Yeah. Did you read it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I gotta see it.
quite honestly, it just shows the bigotry in Bill Maher.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just gonna leave it at that because he's not even worth any more of the time. This man was a genius. He created characters. He created and at the time, people were like, "Oh, this is stuff for kids." No, this wasn't just cookie cutter stuff. On the outside, it looked like that.
Yeah.
But on the inside, when you got deep into these characters, again, you draw up the parallels of Professor X and Magneto, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. You bring up the Fantastic Four. The Fantastic Four introduced the first family of comics.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was a family dynamic that he brought with that.
Mm-hmm.
Not
There
a
was-
sidekick comic. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is too, a lot of people forget, and he died many years ago, was Jack Kirby. Him and Jack Kirby
Yep. I was
were
waiting for you to
Marvel.
finish. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were
They-
fleshing out
yeah.
characters. I remember when he talked about Thor. I'm gonna let you finish. He's like, he makes sure like Thor has to spin his hammer to
Yeah.
fly.
Yeah.
He doesn't just go off. He does a shot at Superman, but he's like, you got to spin the hammer. Then.
It's funny too. Have you ever seen the way people call it Stan script or the Marvel way? The way Stan Lee wrote a script. He just wrote a draft, gave it to the artist. That's it.
And that's it.
The artist had kind of more freedom range on it.
Yeah.
Again, it's going to a lot of. I'm going to leave it. I do conventions and everything, and I did Big Apple Comic Con. My neighbor next to me, they were the people who did the comics that they grade stuff and all that, and they used to work for Stan Lee.
Oh wow.
And I remember the stories that they were telling me at this convention. That was one of the highlights for me at that convention. They were like talking about how Stanley is, how he's such a great guy and everything. They're like, well, that's Stan, and they're like, they go, what you see on TV, the way Stanley acts,
That's
they're
him.
like,
That's
that's
how he
literally
is.
him in
That's how
person.
he is.
Wow.
And they had nothing but great things to say. One of my biggest regrets, never getting to meet Stanley at one of these cons.
Yeah.
A lot of people have great stories about meeting Stanley. I mean, I felt generally bad for a lot of people I follow, like even like with Ivy Doom Kitty, who met Stanley, Jason David Frank, everybody, all the stories they shared, and it's like, in a way, you kind of feel like part of you died.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
And-
Because that was the guy growing up.
Yeah.
That was the guy that was involved in every single Marvel production. Incredible Hulk, all the other Marvel movies or whatever. That's him. And like you said, for a long time going to these cons, I've never had a chance to meet Lee. But then a couple of years back, they were promoting New York Comic Con as his last one of his big cons or whatever. So I had to jump on that. I really did. And for a long time, I had that poster from when I was working, in my movie theater days, had it with me for a long time, and I'm thinking it needs something. And all this time I remember thinking I need something Stanley to autograph.
Yeah.
And then I remembered I had that, I brought it with me, and there it is.
Nice.
That's
Yeah, I mean, it was a quick high and buy thing because he was just literally just signing autographs and then off to the next one. But still, just being that close, to him, and he even gasped. To be honest, when I took out the poster and I rolled it up, he even gasped. He was like, "Oh, okay," because I don't think I mean, in all my years going to these cons and being on social media, I have not seen a single poster, especially that one, signed by Stan Lee. Because a lot of them were recalled, if you think about it. When the towers fell and all that happened, a lot of these posters were recalled. And I remember coming in one day and I'm like, yo, we're all, because a lot of these posters were promotional posters. Yeah. They buy the tickets in advance. We give them a poster. I come into work one day. I'm like, yo, where are all the posters? Where are the banners? They're like, we have to take it down. Why? Oh, yeah.
I just want to clarify what you're talking about because a lot of viewers can't see it. We're looking at a Spider-Man poster. Spider-Man 2 or Spider-Man 1? One. The first Spider-Man poster where Spider-Man is actually peeking throughout, I believe, one of the towers. And they had to recall it because of the tragedy of 9/11. And you have the original poster. Wow. And you had Stan Lee.
I not only had Stan Lee autograph it, but I made sure I paid, I think, an extra $10 or $20 just to have it.
Certified.
Yes,
which is smart. That's an heirloom piece. But again, Stan,
we can never tell what the Hall of Justice is.
We thank you for everything you did.
Definitely,
you are a rock star, and again, the legacy that you left. You fueled imaginations. Without fueling these imaginations, we wouldn't have a lot of the things we have today. In terms of the creative community, you've helped fuel the passion for cosplayers, for artists, for writers, for creatives in general, and we all thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. Yes, man. Thank you so much.
I was ready to end it on that, but we still didn't talk about Teen Titans Go.
Teen Titans.
I think we can talk about that in the episode.
It redeemed the show.
The movie was so good.
It was
so good.
I mean, the best part is there is no stopping the Batman. I'm sorry, when Starfire says
there's no stopping the Batman, and they jabbed at themselves all throughout the whole movie.
I think that was the smart route to go because I remember I was like, oh my god, this dumb show is getting a movie. Because I was very disappointed in this show when it first came out.
Oh yeah, no.
Whoa.
But then
it's not for
movie,
us.
No. I know it's like that's the argument people give, but I argued it this way: when they created Teen Titans the first time, it didn't feel like it was dumbing down to kids because, like, I feel like one of the routes Cartoon Network went is that they started dumbing down shows. Like, come on, we now got twerking Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah, it's
crazy. Really need that?
Yeah, it's crazy.
I stopped watching Powerpuff Girls after the movie.
It's like it's like the shows before that, like the Teen Titans. It didn't make kids feel stupid. It was kind of like it had a story. It had still its jokes, but it had a story. This didn't have that. Now, flash forward later, you release this movie and this show takes jabs at itself. That was
self-aware.
funny, and that was like, you know what? I can mess with that because now that kind of, in a way, gives it its own self-identifying story. It's not just a fart joke anymore, trying to copy a dummy down Ren and Stimpy format.
Right. So, Teen Titans, aside from, like the Judas Contract that comes out of movies, whatever, the original Teen Titans that came on Cartoon Network was dope.
Yeah.
I remember that. Him going, Robin's personal vendetta gets slayed and all this other stuff. It was dope. That was great storytelling.
Yeah.
Then Teen Titans Go came, and I was like, this is not for us.
Yep.
This is for the other generation. And I'm not going to lie, they had some catchy songs like Catching Villains. That was dope.
But that's all it was.
Right.
All it was a fart joke meme show. And fine, people want to argue it's not for us, but at the same time, look at the kids who are watching it that they're creating for. It's like you're creating dumb content. Like, look at the shows that we watched when we were growing up. But these shows weren't dummied down for us. And even when they came out with Ren and Stimpy, as stupid as it was, it still had more substance.
My only pushback is I think whoever is in charge of Cartoon Network's lineup wanted to introduce something else because they had Young Justice out before this show. They also had, remember,
which they canceled.
They even had Adventure Time. Okay, say what you want about it. Adventure Time is deeply layered.
Uncle Grandpa needs to be fired. First of all,
but that's
Uncle Grandpa.
No.
Uncle Grandpa.
That is the nature of Cartoon Network. Look at Squidbillies. Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
That was
Adult Swim. That was early Adult Swim.
Adults.
Right.
Banana Splits.
if you really want to get into
I
it,
can go down. You know.
no. If you really want, I'm gonna give you an example. The Wonderful World of Gumball versus versus Uncle Grandpa. Uncle Grandpa is probably the dumbest show I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
The Wonderful World of Gumball, and this brought my attention, challenges animation because if you look at that show, there's so many different animation styles in that one show. I was like, wow, it's a little funny. The other show that they had, it was the one with Rigby and what's his face?
Regular show.
The regular show. Mm-hmm. Again, this show didn't dummy itself down. It still was a good show, and it still had its jokes. If you look at Adventure Time, on the surface, Adventure Time, the animation on that, people look at it like, oh, this is not meant for us. But when you actually sit there and watch it again,
it's dope.
It's reminiscent to a lot of the older shows when we're going, because again, it's not dumbing down stuff. Avatar, The Last Airbender. Why did we respect it? It didn't dummy down the story.
I get it. I just think Cartoon Network specifically has come from a long line of animations in which cartoons were serious and just award grabbing.
But not just serious. They had funny shows.
I know they had funny shows, but I'm just saying, they want to go. Uncle Grandpa actually has a story, and Grandpa's this powerful being, if I'm not mistaken, but he forgets. Adventure Time is just layered upon layers of Easter eggs. I don't even get into that.
Steven Universe is very layered.
Right.
It's a great show. But
what's that other one? It's Steven Universe you're talking about, actually. Yeah. And it's you remember, my early days of Toonami, if you want to go that far. About Toonami, back when, oh my God.
Or Boomerang.
The host, he changed 5 different times. He was white and blue, blue and white. He was taller. He changed so many times.
Horrible. That ended Toonami when he had the eyes. So,
remember, we had Batman. We also had Inuyasha. We had Yu Yu Hakusho. We had all these different things. And to be fair, I just think at one point they just decided to go a different route. And the reason why they decided to go a different route, which is fine, I understand, but they're just trying to appeal to other people. Because remember, I give you a great example. SpongeBob is the cusp. SpongeBob, the first season, if you're listening to this and you think I'm crazy, watch the first season of SpongeBob. It has so many adult jokes
on the show.
Yeah,
they had a metal band on the show.
Right, they have so many great jokes and so much talent. I want to say SpongeBob lasted for me as an adult until the 5th season. And I remember that because me and my sister, I bought all the seasons for my sister. She was young at the time. And then afterwards, it catered to the younger audience. You understand?
Got dumbed down at that point.
Which is fine. But at the same time, again, when Teen Titans Go first came out, and watching the show, and I guess
it's a younger audience.
I understand.
Beast Boys singing "Catching Villains."
But again,
greatest track ever.
You could still make a show like that, but still have some substance. And that's why I kind of respect what they did with the movie.
I don't know.
Saved it.
I don't think you can do that. I'm just going to push back. I don't think Beast Boy... No, that's fine. I don't think Beast Boy from the original Teen Titans can sing a song about catching villains and then go back to being serious. All right. Granted, he was silly.
So I think we're forgetting about what happened at that time. You remember when Teen Titans Go came out, it was because Young Justice was around first.
Canceled, yeah.
It got canceled because of viewership. People with the kids wasn't buying the toys.
That's right.
It was adults watching the show, and at that point in time, adult collectors like myself, there's not a lot of us, right? Yeah. There's not a lot of us, so they weren't selling as much toys. The kids weren't watching it, so they said, okay. And in typical DC fashion, we're going to go to the extreme opposite, which was Teen Titans Go. Yeah.
You would think they'd be forced to watch it if the parents are watching it. You know what I mean?
That's true. So I didn't necessarily like Teen Titans Go when they came out. When they came out with the movie, I was like, I don't care for it.
That trailer.
But the trailer was awesome.
Yep.
I watched the movie. The movie was great. My daughter watches Teen Titan Go. She likes it. Which kind of transitions over into Titans, where it's I watch Titans. I know the language is bad, I know, but there's times when I'm watching it and I have to pause it, and then she knows from just looking at the characters on screen, that's Beast Boy, that's Raven, that's Starfire, and that's Robin. Right. She knows all of them. I don't let her watch the show. I think when I first watched the first episode, I had to pause and was like, okay, no, you can't watch this.
Yeah, you can't watch this.
You can't watch this. And she gets kind of, but it's a superhero show. And I'm like,
it's an adult superhero.
It's adult.
It's like that lady that complained when she took her kids to go see Deadpool. Oh, that was funny. That was funny. Lady, the movie is rated R. Did you not pick up a Deadpool comic? They can't even make Deadpool child friendly. That's
Exactly.
the funny thing.
Exactly.
They're coming with that PG-13
Yeah.
thing, right?
Did
Did you
you
see
see
the
the
trailer?
Yeah, I did see the trailer.
Listen,
I don't know if I'm gonna see it.
I'm not going to see it. I probably won't see it in theaters.
Yeah.
I'll probably wait.
We are getting Deadpool 3. He's going to be a detective this time. He's wearing a yellow suit.
Pikachu.
He's been minimized, you know.
Yeah, he got hit by. He was messing with Ant-Man's technology.
Yeah, man. Do we have any other updates that we want to go over really quick?
Well, I'm really quick. Looking forward to Aquaman. You saw the final trailer?
Yes, I did.
Oh man,
Yes, I
I
did.
hope this is great because I really want Jason Momoa to have a character that he can play because I did
And
like
that
him
doesn't
as
die.
Aquaman. I did like him as don't pull a Drago. No, I did like that was one of my favorite parts in the Justice League movie was him as Aquaman.
I
think
agree.
He brought his own flavor to it.
I'm looking forward to watching this movie because I really want to see the part where they jump off the boat and everything's dark. And then I want to compare it to The Little Mermaid. This is like the fourth time I've seen this.
I just want to see Ariel like under the sea, and then also Shazam.
That would be
Shazam looks
dope,
fun, too.
though.
Shazam
Like,
looks
if there's
good.
a mermaid... All right.
So, Aquaman definitely was, I think, the star of the show for Justice League. I would
Yes.
definitely him and Wonder Woman.
I think
More so than Cyborg?
Ezra Miller did good. Yeah, he did good as Flash.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see where this fits in that timeline,
has to be
or if they like starting from scratch.
I think it's gonna be some there could be flashbacks before because remember he even points to the Trident.
To the Trident,
He
he's
said,
like,
I already got one of those.
He's like, I
So
got one of
he already-
those.
He got the Trident in Justice League. So.
But I do know for a fact, even the director said no Justice League in my movie.
yeah, I don't expect them to be.
And you know what? And it's not necessary. Just like the whole Shazam thing. If the Cavill Superman thing fell through because they couldn't fit him for a cameo in that movie, then you know what? Screw that. Shazam doesn't need a cameo.
There's brief ways you can do a cameo. There is, and it's already been shown in many movies, not just the Marvel movies, in many movies. Even in the Daredevil show, they didn't show the heroes. It was the stuff briefly mentioned.
Yeah.
And
Stuff on the wall.
On the wall.
The newspaper clippings.
Yeah, that's all you need. That's how you know it's connected.
That's what I'm
You don't
saying.
need-
Like, you don't need an actual physical person to do a cameo. Like, even in the trailer itself, you see the news clipping of Superman. You
Right.
see the Batman Batarang. Like, that's all you need.
Yeah,
but you don't
that's
really need like an action. You're like Henry Cavill showing up like at the end, be like, what's up or whatever. Like,
I wouldn't mind it.
It's
Yeah,
a.
I would-
it's-
I would-
Like,
I wouldn't mind it.
Imagine Aquaman finishes whatever, and he's in the city or whatever, and you just happen to see like, hey, I want to talk to you. My name is Clark Kent. I work for the Daily Bugle, and you'd be like, oh, that's dope.
But here's the thing. It's like this. Like that would be dope for the fans.
I'm just saying.
But you do it subtly.
Yeah.
You do it subtly. Like again, Iron Man is probably the perfect movie for that.
Okay.
Because we didn't have him all of a sudden see Captain America. No.
Mhm.
When he was putting stuff together, he pulls out a Captain America shield.
Mm-hmm.
All the fanboys were like, "Oh, my god,
Yep.
Captain America shield!"
Mm-hmm.
Putting two and two together. And then the icing on the cake obviously was Nick Fury
Right.
at the very
At the end, yep.
But that was already something very subtle. Was
Right.
that? That's all you need to do.
The only the thing that I like to see from the Shazam movie is at least a reference to like maybe an upcoming villain, because you already have Dr. Sivana in this one. Maybe like a little throwback to Mr. Mind, or maybe Black Adam. Maybe something that triggers like a sequel that'll at least lead to Black Adam.
We already know The Rock wants to knock out the Black Adam.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be the end of the movie is probably gonna be the Rock is gonna appear somehow, some way. I'm not a big
Or maybe
fan,
like some kind of disturbance where
or
he's trying
maybe
to
a
break
reference.
out.
a
Yeah.
reference.
Yeah.
Because he wants to do his own thing.
He wants to do
with
his
Black
own-
Adam, and I'm like, listen,
I'm not a fan.
I understand.
I like
that,
The Rock,
He wants
but I'm not
to
a fan.
do his thing with the character and all that because when The Rock comes in, he kind of
If you smile.
he's not really a
Shazam!
big. But this is, he's not really a big franchise saver because not even he could save the GI Joe franchise. That franchise was just
Yeah.
from the beginning. But
You just mentioned that's a sore spot.
Listen, hey, I'm not going to talk bad about The Rock.
no,
Because
there's no.
No,
talking
you
back.
can't talk bad
I'm
about
just-
it.
No,
I'm
right.
just saying.
I'm
I'm not
just
saying
saying.
you are.
He just wants to do his own thing,
Yeah, he does, and I hope that it's.
which is good too. But he
Well, it's
has.
like, you know what it is? I'm sorry. I'm not meaning to interrupt everybody. It's just when the studio starts going, oh, we like how this person did this character, so we're going to go focus the universe on this character. Don't do that.
Sir, let me
Let
shake
him
your
come
hand again.
into
I'm sorry. Let me
his
shake your hand again. I
It's-
agree.
That's 2 handshakes, man.
I'm excited to see
you
him.
get a handshake
Oh, yeah.
from Brooklyn Boy T yet?
Well, I've been mostly observant, so.
I mean, I'm really excited to see The Rock step into this arena. I am. I just hope that the studio doesn't botch it up. And that he...
Because honestly, I can't think of a standalone Black Adam movie, but doing what?
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Considering his history, he was at one point part of the Justice Society of America, but that's like a different thing altogether.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, what if they're planning on making Black Adam the anti-hero? I can't think of a villain that he can go up against.
Not only that, like it has to be. You have to be true to the character. Just because The Rock is super popular, he's a big money drawer, does not mean you make him into a black version of Shazam. Not out the gate.
Right.
Out the gate, you cannot have a Black Adam movie.
An origin movie of Shazam would mostly focus on him being corrupted by power and going against the actual wizard of Shazam, which he would lose.
But that's
Which he would lose.
that's him.
We're talking about
Right?
Black Adam.
Right.
We're talking about like BC, like Egypt, and all that stuff, like that setting.
Yeah, it's not,
But you gotta
it's not
just-
gonna work,
you
is what
gotta-
I'm saying. It's not gonna work. He can't be the main star as Black Adam. He can't.
Not yet.
Unless
Not yet.
And
Not
they're
yet.
not saying that he can't show up as the villain and then maybe a next movie and then
Right, yeah,
look
yeah.
at Loki. Look
Fair
at
enough.
Loki.
No,
Loki
I
was
agree.
on one side and then not completely, but he was kind of an anti-hero in
What, Avengers 2?
Avengers
Okay.
in Avengers Infinity War.
Mhm.
You know,
And Thor.
and Thor 3.
Mhm.
You know what it is? Like, maybe Black Adam was probably the wrong character for him. Maybe it was the right character. Rock has already played a villain in Doom, which, again...
That was years ago.
Yeah.
And Scorpion King.
Brother back.
Well, it was mostly CGI.
Yeah.
The eyebrow.
But, this is the thing.
CGI eyebrow.
I would want him
He
to
always
be-
makes sure he
I
always
would want-
has his rock bottom moving. All his movies
Yeah.
and the eyebrow.
Or at least some
Shout
kind
out
of
to that man.
But I
move,
wanna
some kind of
see-
rock move.
But this is the thing. I want to see him introduced as a villain, and then we gradually get
See the
into
turn.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, for example, maybe we could have done this with Man of Steel 2. He versus Black Adam. Black Adam is on par with Superman in terms of power.
Right.
Those two going head to head. This would have probably been a great role, and also have Henry Cavill shine.
You know what I think would actually be a great movie for him to shine in? But there'll be other people there. Injustice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Injustice,
yeah,
if
yeah.
they go down the Injustice storyline.
Like, you know, this is
Which they're not. I don't
This
think
is
they
what
can do it
yeah,
yet,
they're
but-
not. But this would have been like, if you really think about it, this is just throwing it on the universe.
Possible
I love that
animated
idea.
form, maybe.
Like
Maybe.
he
Okay.
transitions into that role where Superman is like corrupted, he's a villain, but then you transition Black Adam like, oh, okay, he's playing the hero part in that.
So,
Ooh.
Which he barely ever was.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, he's always been leave my country alone, right? You know,
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
like
yeah.
He's like Dr. Doom.
right. All Laveria. So, like, if we can get Injustice, then we can also get what's that world where Superman is literally snorting meth? Justice Lords.
Wait.
Too much.
Not meth. Not meth. Kryptonite. Sorry.
Kryptonite dust.
Reel it back.
So what happens is there's a multiverse that the Justice Lords are actually evil.
Yeah.
And they rule the whole world. Superman is snorting
He's not even
kryptonite.
called Superman. He's like called Ultraman.
Ultraman, right. I'm just saying.
Oh, the crime syndicate.
Yeah,
Right, the crime.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
they changed it for the adaptation of animation, obviously.
That man bat as Batman.
Oh, really?
Owlman.
Yeah.
Owlman, right.
Owlman.
Wonder Woman's
It's
not-
Superwoman.
Superwoman, yeah. Oh, and then what's Green Arrow called?
Power Ring.
No, Power Ring. Green, and then the Flash died.
Johnny Quick.
But he died, didn't he? Yes,
Yeah.
he did. He died at the end. Johnny Quick. Okay, but in the original, if I'm not mistaken, the animation, he died before. Anyway, doesn't matter. If they're gonna bring like what DC could do is like tales from like another universe, and then just
Like
give us
Elseworld.
just give us that.
Yeah.
Elseworld
Just
stuff.
give us that. I'd
I
be
would say
happy.
do it as a show first. I would say test the waters, because right now on the TV shows, you've introduced the multiverse, because Flash just likes to put it in the timeline for some reason. Yeah, I would say because they're going to do this Elseworlds thing right now, where they're introducing Batwoman, they're going to introduce some more characters.
90s Flash.
Lois Lane.
I just wanna say-
90s Flash. Oh my
So,
god.
like, you could probably bring them on to the TV show and do that because we already have a Superman on Supergirl,
Right.
which he's hit it out the park.
Yeah,
By the way.
and he's playing, and he's doing
Hosted,
two roles. If you look at the pic, he's got the black suit on,
And he also
and
has
and the regular suit.
he's gonna be a dual Superman.
But it's and they already
And the suits are different. I don't know if you noticed, but the suits are different. He
Yeah.
actually has like a neck thing up here with the black suit. The other one,
Oh, I
he
didn't
doesn't.
notice it.
I mean, they already gave us Evil Supergirl, which
Right.
is pretty dope.
Yeah.
They gave us the Ray. Like what they've done on these shows, they've already showed Wonder Woman's world in Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
They mentioned Bruce Wayne, and now we have Superman. So it's like you can do that with these shows. But getting back to Black Adam, I don't know.
I mean, when it comes to like again DC and what's to come, Aquaman, I'm definitely down for it. I even surprised my sister with because like Amazon is giving out this thing where it's like if you're a Prime member, you can watch the movie early, December 15th. So I was like, 2 tickets, here you go. You know, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Merry Krika, whatever. You know, have fun, happy birthday. So you know, she's super stoked about it because she's all for it. Shazam, April 5th. I'm down. You know, whatever. Joker movie next October. I'm definitely down too. So whatever. When it comes to these movies, I'm glad that they're not rushing. You know, the schedule. So just stick with this schedule for now. You know, like you say, you know, test the waters. See what works.
Okay. Yeah. Got anything?
No.
All right, so I'm gonna just really say I'm looking forward to Falcon and Winter Soldier series, the Winter Soldier, excuse me, because they both were Captain America,
Right.
and it's different extremes. So it's gonna be like they're fighting each other. I mean, obviously. Bucky wins. I mean, let's be real. Bucky wins.
They became the new buddy cop thing,
Right.
Yeah.
If you remember them in
Civil War.
Civil War, them in the back of the Beetle, they're just like at Cap and all that, and they're giving each other a pound. Like, they already have an interesting on-screen dynamic already.
So I'm looking forward to that. I think we're going to wrap this up. It's your boy Mayhem Mike from HieroGeekics. Thanks for joining us. I got my boy Sebastian. Where can we find you, Sebastian? What have you done? Let us know about your life.
Well, cons are coming up in 2019.
Will you have a haircut at that point?
We already have a haircut. What are you talking about? My hair is longer than yours. You keep picking up. You know what?
Your hair is not longer than mine.
I'm gonna have to miss a shave your hair one day. You're gonna wake up bald like, what happened to my locks?
Maybe your body hair.
Lots of melatonin.
It's a Sasquatch.
In the drinks. Like, oh,
no, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, we got a bunch of cons coming up. So far already, I'm gonna be like, I don't know. You guys hear this? Be at ZoloCon in February. You can catch me on Sebastian Bonet Art on Instagram. To follow me, to see me at the conventions. Hit up inbeyondmag.com. That's inbeyondmag.com. We have a bunch of great articles that are recovering. You may even see episodes of HieroGeekics on there and other podcasters, as well as artists, writers, and everybody that we're covering stories about, and latest geek news. And you can find me at SebastianBonetArt.net or SebastianBonet.com.
Your video series is now a podcast, right?
Oh, yeah. Nerds It Around will be coming back. It's season 3 will debut as a podcast. Originally, you had the YouTube channel, Nerds It Around, the Jesse Sebastian Adventures as well on YouTube.
I was featured on like 2 of them. 3 of them.
Yeah, but yeah, Nerds It Around will be coming back as a podcast. You may hear everybody on HieroGeekics make the trip over, but we'll probably do a challenge exchange. Ooh, probably a talent exchange. Law has been talking about doing something too and all that. With give a big shout out to Geek Ronin too. If you haven't heard their podcast, go listen to them. Shout out, love you guys. But yeah, that would be a dope challenge exchange. We do like that,
What's the shirt you got on today?
I gotta give Jay Peralta a shout out because if you guys haven't seen it yet, it's the Artist Club Apparel. Artist Club. We are a club of artists from Fat Guy Inc., Artist Masor, Son of Sane, Evil Comics. Go to it, Artist Club on the official Artist Club on Instagram, and you can learn how to get these cool, awesome shirts done by Jay Peralta. And finally, go to inbeon.com. That's INBEON.com. Learn more about the comic studio that's taking over the world.
Brooklyn Boy T, what you got on? And where can we find you, if we can find you?
You can find me on IG at Brooklyn Boy T. I have on a Flash T-shirt. This representing the
That's like the classic Flash shirt.
Classic Flash, man. Classic Flash. And this is a great episode, guys. Super excited.
All right.
All
Dorko.
right. All right.
What you got on and where we can find you, if possible?
Dorko Manhattan. You can find me. Well, don't call me. I'll call you. And I'm sporting a mashup T-shirt, if you will, of my Ghostbusters with a Fantastic Four cover. I don't recall like the actual like title, or issue, but it is there. Ghostbusting 4, bruh.
That was actually the issue when Galactus debuted.
There you go. See, you got an expert here.
Wasn't that a 2-part series with the Watcher? Watcher came through? Yeah, I think the Watcher came through. Yeah, all right, dope.
Watcher, Silver Surfer. Oh, wow, it's not.
Yep.
Hope we get a great movie sometime soon. Anyway, it's your boy, man, Mike. You can find me, of course, on The Last Stop on the L. Definitely check out that series. You can find me on The Nerds of the Round, like Sebastian said. I'm probably on Brooklyn Boys Instagram, probably doing some kind of comment. And I'm also sporting a Goku doing a dab shirt. I have a Naruto one, but the Goku one is my favorite right now. It's what I use in the gym. I'm bulking up, trying to be like the Hulk. And this has been it for last HieroGeekics. I didn't know he was recorded. Nobody told me this. Until next time, folks.
Peace.
Hi, heroes. This is Stan Lee coming at you. Want you to know, Marvel has always been and always will be a reflection of the world right outside our window. That world may change and evolve, but the one thing that will never change is the way we tell our stories of heroism. Those stories have room for everyone, regardless of their race, gender, religion, or color of their skin. The only things we don't have room for are hatred, intolerance, and bigotry. That man next to you, he's your brother. That woman over there, she's your sister. And that kid walking by, hey, who knows? He may have the proportionate strength of a spider. We're all part of one big family, the human family, and we all come together in the body of Marvel. And you're part of that family. You're part of the Marvel universe that moves ever upward and onward to greater glory. In other words, Excelsior.
I rang your Wayne Man a bell. Your secrets I'll never tell, but things aren't going so well. Oh yeah, and by the way, this Harvey Dent day is crap. I know that you took the rap. It's been 8 years and no bat, and so I gotta say, your dread was holding smoke bombs you were throwing. Dark Knight cape was flowing. What the hell you doing lately? Hey, when I met you, it was crazy. A Lamborghini and 2 hot ladies. You tried to look like you were happy, but you were Batman and really angry. Hey, when I met you, you were crazy. You drove a Tumbler through Gotham City, and all the orphan boys tried to haze me. I know you're Batman, so stop being lazy.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to this episode of HieroGeekics, the show for all things geek. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe below so we can have more discussions for you. Don't forget to visit our channel, Geeks Unlimited, and even our sibling channel, The Nerds of the Round, on YouTube. Links are in the description below, and until next time guys, stay geeky.
Hi, heroes. This is Stan Lee coming at you. Want you to know, Marvel has always been and always will be a reflection of the world right outside our window. That world may change and evolve, but the one thing that will never change is the way we tell our stories of heroism. Those stories have room for everyone, regardless of their race, gender, religion, or color of their skin. The only things we don't have room for are hatred, intolerance, and bigotry. That man next to you, he's your brother. That woman over there, she's your sister. And that kid walking by, hey, who knows? He may have the proportionate strength of a spider. We're all part of one big family, the human family, and we all come together in the body of Marvel. And you're part of that family. You're part of the Marvel universe that moves ever upward and onward to greater glory. In other words, Excelsior!